Can I help you?
Do you have a replacement for this oxygen sensor?
Oh, yeah. Watch this. Hey, Rick, what do you think?
Zirconium dioxide, 5-wire. Yeah, we got that. That's part number 24302.
What aisle?
Third.
Shelf?
Second. From the bottom.
That's like a superpower. Like a strange and specific superpower.
I heard that.
Let me get that for you.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
Quality parts.
Helpful people.
That's Napa know-how.
Who decided everyone should go to a traditional college? Especially when you can trade 4 years of spinning your wheels for 12 months of speed and power. Hit the gas. Technician skills are in demand. Work on engines, not just essay questions. Train for the career you want faster. Class is in session. Learn more at uti.edu.
We're here at Formula Drift because we want to win.
We're both gonna win, dude.
That's right.
We're both winning.
Double winners today. It's happening. But we also want you guys to win. So go to blackout-motorsports.com to find out all the info about this crazy giveaway that we're gonna do. And to get into the contest, all you gotta do is text blackout to 55678 on your cell phone.
We're giving away monthly prizes like Arctic coolers, sunglasses, GoPro cameras, Advanced Auto Parts gift cards, Nexen tires for your car, and a grand prize is a trip for 2 to come hang out with Chris and I right here in LA at Race Service to be on the last episode of Blackout Garage.
So to enter, text blackout to 55678 on your cell phone. So to enter, text blackout to 55678 on your cell phone. And for all the details on the prizes, head to blackout-motorsports.com.
Boy, I just need you to show me. Boy, I just need you to show me.
I'm Ryan Turk.
And I'm Chris Forsberg.
We're teaming up this year in Formula Drift, and we're also teaming up with Black Magic Detailing Products.
We've got our fair share of toys in the garage, and we want them to not only run good, but look good doing it.
fellow Drift fans, and welcome to Round 3. This is the Napa Road to the Championship presented by Rain-X, Round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. We are 15 years in the making. It all began here 15 years ago at Road Atlanta, this iconic track where the red dirt meets the asphalt, where so many motorsports have gone on. I'm Jared Deanna. This is Ryan Sage. Ryan, we're already 3 rounds deep. It's crazy. Already from Long Beach, Orlando, and we're sweating it out here in Atlanta, but as we know, here at Atlanta, the weather can change at any moment.
It can, and it did yesterday. And, you know, there's certain tracks that really just bloom out that sentimentality. Irwindale is one of them. But Road Atlanta certainly has its place in drifting history. This is the venue where we had the first ever Formula Drift event, and we've just seen it grow and grow, and it's become not only a driver favorite, but a fan favorite, not only locally, but across the world.
Yeah, and I've had multiple people come up to me like, this is the only event I've never been to, or this is the event that I always go to. The sentiments, like you say, are just run so deep. So we have the making of a great event. I'm excited to see. Just again, years ago, from Sammy Houbinet, Alex Pfeiffer, Calvin Wan, you know, all these awesome names. There's still some drivers that are competing since day one. Chris Forsberg, Vaughn Gittin Jr., but you have some new names, and I'm really excited to see them. Notably, James Dean from last year after a 7-year hiatus, but Frederick Osbo, he's going for it. All these big names, but big cars as well.
The championship is definitely in full swing. We've seen a few little chinks in the armor from the Wirthaus team, and we've seen some of the drivers take advantage of that, namely Frederick Osbo. But it's anybody's game right now. After this round, I think maybe there'll be a little bit of coming together on where the championship is going to go for rounds 4 through 8. But right now, it's still anybody's game.
Yeah, Peter Vincic. Let's take a look at the standings overall right now. Frederick Osbo, as you said, he looks like the guy to beat. But then you look at James Dean. He was in the mix. Chris Forsberg, who, you know, I know in his head, talking to him in Orlando, he just didn't feel confident with the car. Then he ends up winning the event. Peter Vincic, and then Forrest Wang, who's back after a year of retirement.
Well, and of course, guys that are really within 100 points have that striking ability to close the gap even in one event. And you can see Ryan Turk, Justin Pollock, Odie Bacchus, Matt Field, and Alec Honadale are all right in that vicinity. So like we said, anybody has an opportunity here to strike while the iron's hot and not let those front runners get away.
This is kind of like that event. Monaco, you got, you know, so many iconic races over the years, you know, Talladega. This is our event that you say, I won at Formula Drift Atlanta. Who's it going to be? Well, for more information on what the judges are looking for, we're going to bring Ryan Lontaine after a message from our sponsors.
All right, and we're back here with Judge Ryan Lantain, this beautiful course here at Road Atlanta. Now, Ryan, we got through Pro 2 qualifying yesterday. Now we're into Pro qualifying. So once again, let's remind the fans what today's event format is all about.
So each driver is going to get 2 qualifying laps. They're going to be non-consecutive, and they're going to get a score based on what the line angle and style judges are going to see out on track. They're going to keep the highest of the 2 scores, and those 32 drivers, 32 of those qualifying drivers will head into head-to-head competition, and any ties will be broken according to the lower qualifying score. Lower qualifying score.
Now, this particular course is one of the most interesting. It's not only a fan favorite, but also a driver favorite. So it makes sense for us to take a look at the track map and just give us a breakdown of how you guys are going to be judging this particular track.
So you can see on this map, the blue sections are going to be judged by the style judge. So any transition area, you can see the run up to initiation, including the initiation, will be covered by the style judge, and he will look at all the areas in between any scored line or angle zones, which will be in either outside zones, inside clips, or touch and go areas. So every single area on the track that's scored by line and angle will be worth 5 points, and then the style judge will have a total of 40 points to give away for fluidity and commitment.
This particular track, like most of the tracks that we go to, has areas where it's expected that drivers are going to at least have some sort of a deceleration. Now, we used to have an acceleration-deceleration map. We're now calling it the decel map. Give us the significance of that and what the fans can expect in these particular areas?
Anywhere you see the red lines on this map is an area where a chase car should expect the lead car to be slowing down. So in qualifying, we need the drivers to adhere to the same map. We want them to do in qualifying what we expect them to do in top 32 competition as well. So if you look at these red areas, that's where a lead driver can either slow down using the foot brake, the handbrake, lifting off the throttle, whatever might slow the vehicle down. So it's an off throttle area where momentum will not be maintained.
Okay.
Everywhere else on the track, we are expecting them to either be accelerating or maintaining the same speed that they're at that point in time.
And these areas might help you guys in case if there's a collision or contact or something like that, you're able to look at the lead driver. Was he slowing down too much or was that acceptable? Things like that.
Exactly. If they're slowing down in an area that's not deemed a decel area, if there's a contact, a collision, anything like that that would have affected the chase car, that generally would go on the lead car for making an error as he's not supposed to slow down where the decel areas are not.
Drifting around the world is known as a subjective sport. Style certainly plays a role. We've really thought deeply about how to define style and what that is. We used to call it IFC, that was the acronym. Now it's just FC, so tell us what F and C are.
So F and C are fluidity and commitment. Fluidity is going to refer to the rotational axis of the vehicle, so how it rotates like this. Is it fluid? Is it smooth? Was the driver accurate? So when I say that, I mean when they were rotating to angle, did they get to the angle that they wanted to get, or did they have to add more angle or take angle away to get through that corner that they were approaching? Any of those corrections will be seen by the style judge. Well, we look at the commitment side of things. Run up to initiation is going to be part of the commitment. You want to see full throttle, full commitment all the way to initiation. At a high rate of speed, and then you want to see drivers committing to certain areas on the track. Now at this track at Road Atlanta, coming up to outside zone 2, which is kind of the entry to the keyhole area, we want to see the drivers coming up very deep in outside zone 1. So on that kind of, they'll be turning into the left, counter steering to the left as they come up the hill. We want them to come up as far as possible on throttle. When they get as deep as possible, add more angle, slow the car down, but use the momentum to fill outside zone 2. That's going to be a high commitment score when that's done. A poor commitment score there would be somebody coming up, lifting early, realizing I need to get on the throttle to get myself up the hill. That's a safer way to go through it, and that means less commitment.
We want to be able to give drivers as much room as they can in order to express their own personal style and really push the limits. But you also want to have, a cutoff point where we have what we call incompletes, where drivers essentially get a 0 for the qualifying score. So let's talk about the zeros, or incompletes as we call them in qualifying.
Incomplete runs include things such as spinning out, opposite drift. So that means you're drifting in the opposite direction you should be drifting anywhere on the track. And then a hood, hatch, trunk, doors, anything latchable opening on the course. Now this list doesn't include maybe going straight for a long period of time, having a mechanical failure that either slows the car down to the point where they're not drifting anymore, maybe they go 4 wheels off course into the gravel trap here. All those things would be considered incomplete runs.
All right. Well, thank you, Ryan Lantain, for breaking down the judging for qualifying here. This is the Napa Road to the Championship presented by Rain-X, and this is round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Up next, it's time to qualify.
Welcome to Formula Drift Atlanta and today's Black Magic Clip Tip. I'm standing at the top of the keyhole at Outer Zone 2, where you actually have to come in with a lot of speed into a blind zone, one of the only on the Formula Drift circuit. And you come up and over this hill through Outer Zone 1 on the throttle, you flick into the keyhole, give it a quick stab of the brakes and downshift, and if you don't hit that mark just right, you're either gonna blow into the grass or come way on the inside. And the judges are only a few feet away and they see everything right here. So matches are won and lost right in this outer zone between Outer Zone 2 and Inner 1. So you have to make sure that you come over that hill.
All right, so you get a little bit of breakdown from the judges. Myself and Ryan Sage are up here in the booth, and we are live, baby. We are here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. We saw qualifying from Pro 2 yesterday, and now it is the Pro Championship that we are waiting for and ready to see them come down this iconic track. Again, 15 years it all began here, from Vipers and Corollas, S13s, and now here we are seeing our first ever Cadillac in competition. Taylor Hull from right here in Georgia. Tried to debut his car in Orlando, had some unfortunate turn of events, so Taylor Hole, unfortunately, was not able to see his car go around the track. But there's no better place that he'd like to actually see the car ripping and tearing around a course than here at Road Atlanta. All right, so here we go. Getting the word from the judges, and we are ready to send it for our first turn and burn of our Pro Championship qualifying here, again, for the 15th year. Here we go with this Comp Cams Cadillac ATS V. All right, here we go. Taylor Hole into that first clip. Glides right past it. Nice job by Taylor Hole. Moves his way up the hill into that first outer zone and then into the second. Doesn't get all the way out there. The Achilles radial smoke. Into that front clip. Now that's a course marker there as he exits the horseshoe into the touch and go area. And then around that final front clip. And that is Taylor Hole on his first turn and burn, Ryan.
Yeah, we'll get an opportunity here to take a look at some of the specifics of the track on this first run by Taylor Hole. A good pull from him. You can see initiating right there at that last standing cone, and that is what the judges are looking for. Then hitting this inside clip, coming up the hill, being on throttle all the way up the hill, trying to reach as far out as he can in that first outer zone and then flow right into that second outer zone. He comes up a little bit short there, but you can see a nice line being drawn just a little bit on the outside of that inside clip. And then here, Jared, coming down the hill, you see this inside touch and go, which is basically spotted by those two yellow cones on the inside of the grass, about 3 or 4 feet off of the track. And you can see as he comes down, he has a little bit of wobbling there on his initiation. The judges rather, are really looking for snappy initiation, right to angle, holding it, and then getting back on the throttle as quickly as possible. We do have 32 drivers, so all spots will be filled unless there are 2 incompletes. And we'll have a full top 32 competition tomorrow. So really it's about positioning. Where are you going to end in the lineup? Are you going to be the #1 qualifier? Are you going to be the 32nd qualifier? It all comes down to the judges and today's competition.
Right on. Thank you for breaking it down, Ryan, as we are waiting for Taylor Hole's score. Scores are in for Taylor Hole. And first score, 73, a 73 for Taylor Hole. And that is a 73 for Taylor Hole. We were to see Ryan Literal right before him, but speaking to his spotter, and I understand they had an issue with their wiring harness, so hopefully they get it fixed, and he get his second run as Ryan Literal is doing double duty, both Pro 2, which he did qualify for, and we have top 16 after this, so hopefully he gets it fixed not only for qualifying here in Pro, but also in Pro 2 competition. All right, next up was to be Cameron Moore. Unfortunately, not seeing Cameron Moore once again from Battleground, Washington, but now it's Kazuya Toguchi. And this Jerry Yang Racing Achilles Radial Top 1 Oil GTR. Here we go. Toguchi on his first run. You see him initiate right there at that 1 cone. Kind of a slow roller. Didn't go right to angle very quickly. Lacking a little bit of angle. Like to see some more at it. The judges aren't requesting a lot because they do know that they need to carry a lot of momentum there. You're seeing that e-brake. Really seems like he's fighting the car here, Ryan. Exits out of the horseshoe. Seems that there are a few hiccups as far as, fluidity being one of the criteria in style, Ryan. I don't know, what were your thoughts?
Well, I've seen this guy drive in Japan. He's incredible talent, and obviously, getting the bugs shaken out of the vehicle and doing the best that he can with what he's working with here. You can see coming down, initiates, throws the e-brake in. Right here up the hill, he had that little let off for a second. You can see the smoke line stop, and now he reaches out to that first outside zone. Right here, Jared, is where you saw basically that back wheel lock up for quite a bit as he tries to make some adjustments in the vehicle. You can see he goes a little bit wide on that second inside clip. Now coming down the hill here, starting to draw a pretty good line. You can see just about how close he gets to that inside touch and go, and then through the finish line as he will put run #1 in the books. Let's take a look at the initiation. You can see he got a little bit before that first standing cone, trying to measure up and really flow into this first corner and then get back on the throttle as quickly as possible.
All right, so Kazuya Toguchi awaiting his scores. The Jerry Yang Racing Achilles Radial Top 1 Oil GTR. He's a Formula Drift rookie, as Ryan said. Seen him drive in Japan. New car for him. And still waiting the scores here from the judges. Scrutinizing the run, a pretty difficult run to break down because, again, just a lot of corrections seemed like here and there, and you know, had some moments of greatness, but unfortunately had a lot of mistakes.
Well, one of the things we saw last night in the Pro 2 qualifying was the second run was really where we started to see some of those lower scores get knocked out, started to have that standard of where the cutoff was going to be since they're in top 16 competition and not top 32. So I'm sure that we'll see that as drivers get used to their setups here and try to figure out where they're going to land into the top 32.
And Kazuya Taguchi with a 67. That's a 67 on his first run. A 67. And just 2 drivers in, puts him into second spot. Kevin Lawrence, who is another driver who ended up winning the Pro 2 championship last year. K-Law, he was to drive Pro 2 and Pro, but truth be told, he did not qualify last night in another vehicle, and Kevin Lawrence backs it in. And Kevin Lawrence, that will be an incomplete run for him. So he is down to 1 run. That will be an incomplete run for Kevin Lawrence. So very unfortunate turn of events for him. Not only yesterday did not qualify in Pro 2, but now he's only got 1 run. You know, 2 cars, 1 run.
Yeah, let's see if we can determine what happened here. Great job coming down. You can see kind of hesitated on the initiation and threw a lot of angle in it, and it kicked the back end out, and he really didn't have anything that he could really do with that. And like you said, Jared, so you can right there, he kind of hesitates, then induces a heavier drift and is just not able to hold it. And so he'll have that incomplete. Last night it looked like he was actually struggling with the vehicle, trying to make what he had in his hands and under his feet work for him, and it just didn't seem to be doing what he wanted it to do. He was pulling a lot of e-brake coming down the hill and then just not really able to get back on the throttle. Here, a little bit of a different story, but like you said, down to his final run in order to qualify for tomorrow's head-to-head competition.
Next up, Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones in his supercharged LS. Nissan Z. What do you got for us, Jeff Jones? Got that Edelbrock supercharger underneath the hood, a little brown cloud, a straight line approach there. Would like to see a lot more angle from Jones in the dock. Falcon tires, 370Z, brings it out to the outside zone. Did a great execution there as far as line. But I'm sure he's going to be docked some points on initiation. Just needed to throw some more angle at it. If he threw some more angle at it on initiation, it would have looked a lot better.
Well, of course, so many drivers induce drift with the e-brake, but you can see here just an excessive e-brake pull after initiation, and then he really takes a while to get back on throttle. The judges want to see you really get your timing right, accelerate up to initiation, and then get back on the throttle quickly. Does a pretty good job here in outside zone 2. Nice job there on that second inside clip. You can see he draws a pretty good fluid line coming down the hill here, but he is just a bit off of that inside touch and go. So he will take some points off the table for that, but Jones has got 1 run in the books, and he'll have 1 more to go.
Fortunately for these guys, you know, we started the season with 32 drivers, and with Cameron Moore not joining us, and we'll see who else does not, but that allows for some buy runs as well as qualifying position. It just dictates where you're at. You will be seeing head-to-head action that's depending on how many drivers eventually get a run, but having a score in the books, regardless if it's great or you know, or lackluster, they will get a score in the book. So let's see where Jeff Jones lands after his first run. All right, so take another look there at Jones, and looks like the scores are in. And Jeff Jones with that Doc Falcon tires, Nissan 370Z is 66. A 66 there for Jeff Jones. So Jeff Jones with the 66 on his first run. All right, so next up, with the Galp Achilles Radial S13.5, we have that of Austin Meeks. All right, Austin Meeks again picking up a new sponsor, the Galp. And away from the start line. Here we go. Austin Meeks. All right, throws it in. Good angle from him. Good execution. Liked what he did there. Very fluid all the way up to the hill. Throwing some more angle at it. Gets into the, no! Wow, narrowly escapes getting into the dust. Really flirting with the edge of the course. It did throw him off a little bit from that front clip. Now he goes past that front touch and go and past the, knocking it over. A solid run there from Austin Meeks. Very exciting. Saw the media kind of just shy away from, they thought they were going to get sandblasted.
Well, you can see this approach here from Meeks. He is a little bit past that last standing point of initiation. She'll have some points docked there, but as you said, Jared, coming up the hill, throws big angle in the car, able to do it pretty smoothly and with a lot of fluidity, but you can see the line actually pushes him a bit wide there on that second inside clip. Now he's coming back down the hill. He's a bit wide here on this inside touch and go, which we get a good shot from our tower cam over there, and then finally through the finish line. Let's take a look at this. He really put some angle in the car, is able to adjust the speed, and then just stay right on that outside line, maybe just touching the dirt for a second there. But again, that line pushing him a little bit wide. A good pull for him starting off. He knows where he can make some adjustments on the second run. You can see he's also just using that e-brake and then back on throttle through that inside clip.
All right, so awaiting Austin Meeks' score. Where does Austin Meeks land? A very impressive run, an 81 for Austin Meeks. So a solid run as Austin Meeks jumps into his Formula Drift rookie year and puts a score on the board. Next up, Kyle Mohan, American Ethanol, Mazda Tricks, Mazda MX-5 from Southern California. All right, here we go, Kyle Mohan. Kind of right there at that last initiation cone, taking it out. Whoa, almost taking it with him back home. Gets into the dust. Nice, ripping through the course as Kyle Mohan, the loud and proud rotary, the lone rotary in competition, the last starfighter, past what would be the final front clip. Very quick Kyle Mohan. Some nice lines there.
But you can see just how important the initiation is right at that last standing cone. You can see the e-brake pull, and then Kyle gets back on throttle, but you can see he's a little bit inside there, kind of center punches that first inside clip. Now coming up the hill, great angle here, reaching out to that second outer zone, leaving it just right at the right time, hitting that second inside clip. So great job through the keyhole there. Has a little bit of a flub coming down the hill, just a little bit wide on that inside touch and go. And Kyle Mohan has got run one in the books. Let's take a look at the initiation again. You can see with the painted tires and or the wheel markers, gives you an idea of how much e-brake is being used when the drivers are back on throttle. Obviously the smoke line, a good indication of that as well. And then here's Kyle up in the keyhole. One of the better jobs we've seen so far in this section of the course. Able to draw a nice smooth line. And then back down the hill, just a little bit wide there on that inside touch and go. But he will have a score in the books, and we'll see where he locks in.
All right, Kyle Mohan awaiting his score, and his score is in for Mohan. And it's a 76. It's a 76 for Kyle Mohan. 76 for Kyle Mohan on his first run. All right, next up, Farouk Kawai in his Reckless Racing BMW from Poland, originally from Poland, but now living in Northern California. Farouk, seems like he's getting that car worked out better and better each round. Let's see what kind of package he brought here to Atlanta. Throws it in, you hear a lot of squealing from the tires, little lift on the throttle, but stands right back on it. Some wavering, you could hear some hiccups, and and that will be an incomplete, unfortunately, for Farouk. And that will be an incomplete run, unfortunately, for Farouk Kawai.
Well, you can see, Jared, he was having a little bit of trouble on initiation there, but obviously the larger issue that led to the incomplete was coming up the hill. You can see him starting to lose angle here. He's fighting the vehicle, and then right there basically just shuts it down. That's where the incomplete takes place. So he'll have one more run left to go. And it does look like he is actually standing on course right now, so he may have some damage to the vehicle that requires a tow. Well, if you're joining us here on the live stream, you want to win a free MagnaFlow exhaust, get out your cell phone and text MF Drift to 555-888. That's MF Drift to 555-888. And also, we've got the brand new Formula Drift community. Head over to the Formula Drift website, click community, and we've got a really cool group of people that are sharing content and having conversations, and also a great way to find some hidden codes in there that'll give you some points for the app. So check out the FD community, go to the Formula Drift website and click community in the upper tab. All right, well, we got to catch up with Dean Kearney, who's with Robbie Nishida and the JE Pistons tech segment.
Hey, this is Robin Nishida back for more JE Pistons Tech Talk here at Dean Kearney's pit. You had some contact earlier during practice?
Yeah, we had a little bit of contact on the first lap, actually. We didn't have the nitrous turned on, and I came around the last corner and just got back on the gas and was like super low on power because it was out of the power band of the turbo and just ran out like on the grass.
I know when you're near a wall, the car cuts off, then all of a sudden you get all this grip because, you know, yeah, obviously drifting, you're making the car slide. When it grips up, what happened to the car? What did you have to fix?
Yeah, it didn't get hit actually that bad. It just actually knocked off the bumper and the taillight and stuff. We broke the bash bar, so we just actually cut it in half, and we have a spare one with us all the time. So this is what was there. It's a little bit different shape now, but it's okay. And then we had to change a control arm and these buddies. So this is a upper tie rod mount, and it's just actually bent here, so this is why it's actually cut out like this. So this will bend and not damage an upright. So it's a pretty simple fix.
So it's pretty much designed for some kind of collision.
Oh
too,
yeah,
right?
exactly. That's the whole idea of it. That hits stuff and it doesn't bend the expensive important parts, and these bits are easy to change, only a couple of bolts.
So that's some of the parts they've made and redesigned for the car. It's the only drifting Dodge Viper in the world, right?
The only drifting Dodge Viper in the world, yeah. So it's pretty cool. Motorsport in Montreal actually done all the components on the car, all custom. So it's pretty cool to have this kind of stuff and that kind of support.
Yeah, it's pretty easy, man. Everything's fixed. You ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right, well, thank you, Robbie, for that. In the JE Tech Talk, we're seeing Farouk getting loaded onto the hauler there. We'll go back and evaluate the vehicle, try to make it out for run number 2. He's got a wide open opportunity with just under 32 drivers here, with Cameron Moore stepping out of competition. So he just needs to get a score on board, Jared, in order to make tomorrow's head-to-head competition, and that is very, very important to do.
Yeah, like I said earlier, with 32 positions starting off the season, but then with drivers missing in competition, it's a good opportunity for them to solidify a head-to-head battle. So we'll be right back. We'll get Farouk off course and continue here with the Napa Auto Parts Road to the Championship presented by Rain-X, round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship.
Every one of us starts out as a wide-eyed recruit, myself included. If I could go back, I'd tell that kid, get ready.
All right, so we're warming up some tires again of the Nexen variety. Dan Burkett, the only super here in competition and Pro Championship. Ula Jaeger in Pro 2. He's campaigning what was formerly Frederick Osbo's vehicle, or he piloted at the multiple events previously. But we are seeing Dan Burkett now at the start line for his first qualifying run. So if you are just tuning in, we are live. We are just getting started. We are about 8 drivers in now with Dan Burkett. And continuing here at Road Atlanta. All right, so Rad Dan, as he's known, he on the webs as well as on the track. The mulleted one, Dan Burkett. Business up front, party in the rear. Let's see what kind of party he's got going on in the rear. Nice flick into that first clip. You saw him pull a little bit of angle out of it. Maybe got a little bit of scared there. Into the gator strips, using all of the courses. Burkett, yes sir. Nice job by Burkett. Through the horseshoe. Well done, leaving a smoke signal. Dan Burkett, one of the strongest runs I've seen him throw it down. Make some noise for Rad Dan. Really liked his action in the horseshoe.
Pretty aggressive run there. The judges usually don't like to see you break it the opposite way like that on initiation, so we'll have to see how they judge that. You can see he kind of drives a little bit straight through that inside clip, back on the throttle here now, coming up the hill, pouring on a ton of angle to reach out to this second outer zone, fills that really well, and then nice and tight on that inside clip. Now coming back down the hill, you can see driving through his own smoke line, does a pretty good job right there at the edge of the course, getting into that inside touch and go, and then finishing it off strong is Dan Burkett.
Yeah, just an exciting run to watch, but technically, like you said, what are the judges looking for compared to what he threw down? You saw that kind of counter and then into it, and you saw him pull some angle out of it, so a correction there, but I liked his line, just very flowy, big, styly. You know, you see the smoke signal, just, and there it is. All right, so waiting for.
I think the biggest thing is the opposite flick, and then right there you can see really lacking the angle through that inside clip. And so I have to imagine that's going to be heavily penalized. But he, like you said, Jared, he had a great job on the keyhole. He was able to fill that second outer zone. He had a nice line coming through that second inside clip. I think it's really going to come down to the initiation and the angle passing through that first inside clip where the deductions are going to take place.
All right, scores are in for Radical Daniel, aka Rad Dan, and that is a 0. That's an incomplete. So we're going to bring in Ryan Lontaine here. Ryan, again, it comes down to, it was exciting to watch, but technically not meeting the judges' requirements.
At inside clip 1, he essentially straightened up completely and drove by the clip, and then got the car back to angle. So after looking at it a few times from different angles, we concluded that it was an incomplete.
All right, so all the way down to that first initiation, they classified that as a straightening, so that will be an incomplete run for Dan Burkett. So unfortunately, it comes down to a second run, as we are seeing Jonathan Castro. Jonathan Castro operating his Toyota Racing Toyota 86, Jardot Metaldon on Nexen tires. Castro rolls into it, not a big flick, but still looks really strong. Look at that. Solid job by Castro. Oh, you see some wavering there, trying to massage it. You can see him work his way out to that outside zone. Executes well in the keyhole. Now past that touch and go, really hanging his bumper over. That's a new instituted point, basically. Again, not an outer zone, not an inside clip, but an inside touch and go.
Yeah, let's take a look here at Castro's run. Nice initiation there, right on that first, or that last standing cone, smooth through that inside clip. Now coming up the hill here as he enters into the keyhole, he's going to struggle here. He had a lot of angle in the car and they had to pull it out. He makes an adjustment to try to get out to that second outer zone. Better job on that inside clip, but we'll definitely get some deductions the entrance of the keyhole here. Big smoke line finishing up, hits that inside touch and go, and then finishes up run number 1.
All right, Castro awaiting his scores on his first run. Remember, let everybody know you are watching. Share the link on all forms of social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, MySpace. Keep the conversation going. As hashtag FDATL. Ryan, I know you still got your Friendster, right? You got your Friendster account still alive and well. DJ Ryan Sage going live. All right, so again, Castro waits for a score. And there you go, 71, a 71 for Dominican Republic's own Jonathan Castro. Next up, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Vaughn Gittin Jr. Bit of string of bad luck. That's when it comes to head-to-head. Traditionally a lot higher here in the standings, but season is far from over. What does Vaughn Gittin Jr., the Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR have? One of the FD veterans since day one, 15 years into that second outer zone. Brings it tight to that front clip. See a quick little correction there. And then into that final front clip.
Well, it's got all the aggression that we're used to seeing from Vaughn Gittin Jr., especially on the initiation here. You can see very limited use of e-brake, letting that vehicle flow and then quickly getting back on the throttle here. You can see he's holding that nice line coming up the hill, just getting a little bit of chatter there, but maximizing the angle and staying deep into that second outer zone, tight through that second inside clip. Nice fluid motion back around. He makes a little bit of adjustment on the wheels there coming out of the keyhole, but a nice transition back around to the finish line. So for Vaughn Gittin Jr., a good run number 1 in the books. And we'll see where that lands him in the top 32 field, as he just guaranteed himself competition for tomorrow by getting that scored run.
Let's see if he lifts himself. Lift yourself. All right, so again, Vaughn Gittin Jr. awaits his score, and scores are in for Vaughn Gittin Jr. 87. 87 from Vaughn Gittin Jr. So our new leader, but quite a few drivers left to go through the course. Already getting some heckling. It's not even 7 o'clock yet. That's why you gotta love Atlanta. Thank you, Team Rowdy. Thank you, Drift Scum down there too. Drift Scum, the Sand People. Now they call it the Bunker. Look at all this branding now. Team Rowdy got their poop emoji signs, poopity scoop, which is becoming a popular verse sung by my kids lately. Here we go. Our next driver, Matt Kaufman. Put him in a Kaufman from the PNW. What do we got? Medford, Oregon. Good angle from him. That Ford Power Plant S13. Shred it. Up into that big angle from Kaufman. Bit tight to that front clip, knocking it out. Into that touch and go, and then the final clip, Kaufman. I don't even think he hit that final front clip. I think he just scared it and it kind of keeled over.
Well, really loving the way Kaufman attacked the last half.
Yeah.
Of that course. You can see also a big e-brake pull. He doesn't really get back on throttle till way past that first inside clip. So judges will definitely be taking a look at that. You can see he's a little bit short on this second outer zone, but driving very aggressively, super tight on this inside clip here. Chooses that middle line coming out of the horseshoe, now coming down the hill. Great job on that inside touch and go, snappy transition back around, and solid there towards the last part of the run. Let's take a look at the initiation again. And you can see he's off throttle, off throttle, off throttle, off throttle, and then right here back on it, roasts the tires and heads up to the keyhole.
Like you said, I do agree with you. I like what he did up there in that latter portion of the course. Just a fun driver to watch. Looks like he just wants to get it done and then get back up the hill and go shred it once again. Scores are in here for Matt Kaufman. And an 86, an 86 puts him in a number 2 position currently. That's an 86 for Matt Kaufman. Next up, We have Matt Van Kirk. Matt Van Kirk, another driver from the Pacific Northwest in the Closet Creations Popeye Energy S13. And here we go, Matt Van Kirk. Matt Van Kirk really coming on strong. Really like what he's doing, a Formula Drift rookie. Transitions up the hill. Nice, really fluid. Throw some more angle at it, but no, that's gonna end up in the rough, not in the fairway. Down by the beach. So Van Kirk with a goose egg. That is a 0 for Matt Van Kirk. Oh boy.
Let's see how Van Kirk started things off. You can see initiating right at that last standing cone, getting a little e-brake there, and then back on the throttle through that first inside clip. Now coming up the hill here, you can see he's going to put some angle into the car, and then right here, front end kind of washes out, and he's not able to manage the speed accordingly, heads off course, and that is what gets him the incomplete. Here's a shot from the other side of the track, and you can see there, hits that cone and goes off course. Vehicle looks safe and sound, but he will have that incomplete to deal with on run number 2.
All right, so Van Kirk, like I said, just kind of off into the rough. Send a shout out to Bagsy. How's it going, Bagsy? Over there, I don't know where you're at, watching from UK maybe. As next up, Chelsea Denofa. What up, Chelsea? As Chelsea Denofa here at BC Racing, Nitto Tires, Ford Performance, Mustang RTR. Had a bit of bad luck in Orlando, but he is back and with the vengeance. RTR stands for ready to rock on Vaughn's car, but now ready to rowdy. Let's see what you got. Chelsea Denofa. See if he can get some redemption, some three-wheel motion. We've known Chelsea to put on some wild runs here. See him running through the gears, you can hear it. Now hammering down. Filling all that outer zone, getting into the gator strip, scrubbing some speed. Yeah, dancing right there on that line. You can see him kind of halting it up. Past that touch and go, you see that front left wheel stopping, and then around that front clip. Well done by Chelsea Denofa. So that's what I call redemption, Ryan.
Well, you can see some of the way that these drivers are attacking the course. Denofa actually is back on throttle before that first inside clip, and it allows him to really project himself up the hill. He gets a great line heading into the second outside zone, just threads the needle there right through those two standing cones. Little bit wide on that second inside clip, but overall you can see really maximizing the angle down the hill. Quick snap back around to the finish line, and a good pull for him in run number 1. Here it is, watch this. He very limited use of e-brake. Watch how early he gets back on the throttle. Right there, he's driving past that inside clip with a lot of speed, and it allows him to set himself up just perfectly for the entrance to the keyhole. And right along the line here, just right on that yellow line, not even touching the dirt a little bit, and solid performance for him.
And he does. 94, a 94 for Chelsea Denofa. A solid showing there after, again, a very heartbreaking round 2 in Orlando as he suffered some issues with his vehicle. And now here he is back on the track, back at it once again with the Mustang. So Mike Essa here in this Essa Autosports Achilles Tire BMW. Former champion. You can see our leaderboard starting to shape up. But a lot of drivers to go through here. Michael Essa making his way down into that first front clip. Known for those backwards entries, just kind of a bygone here, looking for the execution. But no, Michael Essa still brings it. Nice. Really good fluid progression through the course. Almost gets out that line, but allows himself that compromise. Doesn't go all the way to that second outer zone to stay tight to that front clip in the keyhole. Navigates past that touch and go, and Mike Essa, really well done from him. I would say that's a nice, clean, I don't even call it a safe run because it was still exciting to watch.
Yeah, if you're paying close attention, it's really fascinating to see the different way these guys are approaching the initiation, where they get back on throttle. You can see Essa got back on throttle just right there, a little bit past that first inside clip. And coming up the hill here, Jared, you mentioned he was just a little bit short on filling that zone, but pretty good job. It allows him to draw a smooth line through that second inside clip, and then coming back down the hill, you can see he's driving through his own smoke line, a very heavy smoke line. Decent job there on that inside touch and go, and then through the finish line he goes. So Michael Essa starting off pretty strong. Let's see, as he comes into the keyhole here, he probably had maybe about a foot more to go, 18 inches or so, just to get to that yellow line. But for Michael Essa, this is a great first run, and he'll have one in the books, ready for run number 2.
All right, so as we are seeing a lot of the drivers navigate the course, we advance on to our next driver. Michael Essa's score coming in, and it is an 88. An 88 for Michael Essa. A solid score from him puts him into the number 2 position for Essa. Next up, coming to us from Ohio, Dirk Stratton in the Drift Vet, Stratton Chevrolet, Achilles Radial. And here we go, Dirk Stratton coming into that first front clip. Big angle from him. Scrubs a lot of speed there, unfortunately. You see him counter up. Now turns on the smoke machine into that second outer zone, works it. That Lingenfelter sponsored vehicle, Fortune Auto Suspension. And past the final front clip. To be quite honest, Ryan, the exhaust note sounded a little bit like kind of was struggling there.
Yeah, and watch the initiation here. You can see he's kind of roll into it, using limited e-brake, but then he lets it float. Doesn't get back on throttle till right there, and then you can see the smoke line. So he kind of had a little bit of a mistake in that particular area. Now coming into the keyhole here, pretty good job on that second outer zone. Nice and tight on this inside clip here. Now wrapping back around, coming down the hill. You can see he puts big angle in the car, trying to get as close as he can to that inside touch and go. Nice smooth transition back around and finishes up there run number 1. But a little bit of trouble on the initiation into inside clip number 1. You can see limited e-brake use, starts to roll through it, tries to get back on throttle, then he sees he's got a bit too much angle, and then right there he kind of has that weird line where he has to adjust, and then he's back on throttle up the hill.
So yeah, but at some point you hear him just kind of struggling through. Kept it sideways, kept it clean, but now waiting for the score. Dirk Stratton. An 84, so a solid score there for Stratton. Like I said, exhaust note or not, he kept it sideways. He put the car in the right places, puts him into that number 4 position. So Ken Gucci up next. Another one of the drivers. Again, you got Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s already went. Ken Gucci, we got Dio Shihara, Chris Forsberg. They've all been here now celebrating 15 years. Here we go. Gretty Performance Parts, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. He's on Falcon tires. The Great White Ghost here into that front clip, well executed by him. Just to think, Ryan, just we've seen this young man grow up. We've seen this young man just grow up so much just over the last 15 years.
Well, this was the track in 2015 where he really had his breakout year, charged for a championship against Frederick Osbo. Gucci back on the throttle right there at the beginning of that inside clip. Now making his way up the hill here, trying to find that line where he can attack here, tries to get deep, just misses it by maybe about 6 to 8 inches there. Pretty good job on that second inside clip. Draws a line through the middle exit of the horseshoe, now down the hill. Little bit long on that inside touch and go, but smooth transition back around, and then finishing up the run is Ken Gucci. Here it is again, the initiation. Again, you can see the difference. A lot of guys using very limited e-brake here, letting it roll on, and then Gucci's back on the throttle just right at that inside clip. So doing a good job managing his speed coming down the hill. The judges really emphasize accelerating to the initiation, letting the vehicle carry out, and then back on throttle as quickly as you can.
Very fluid run there from Ken Gucci. How is that going to work its way into the score. And scores coming in. And scores are in for the Goosh. 85 and 85 for Ken Gushi. Puts him into the number 5 position. So Ken Gushi, again, we've seen a lot of 80s as we move through and progress through our drivers list. All right, here we go. Christos Blush from Latvia, the Eurofighter. HGK, Achilles tire, E92 BMW. You can hear him lift a little bit. Definitely not lifting at any point right now. That Mass Motorsports and Motul ripping through. You can see the rim indicator just wraps it around. Absolutely dancing on the pole there around that clipping point. Well done by Christos Blush. Well done by Christos Blush.
Yeah, I think this is a real chance to get up into the 90s. The initiation is on point. You can see very limited use of e-brake, and he's on throttle actually before that first inside clip. Now coming up the hill here, he's drawing a really great line. You can see he's smooth and solid and does a perfect job on that second outer zone. Very tight here. I love the way that he just came around that inside clip, wrapped around it smoothly. The only thing is he just misses that inside touch and go by a little bit. But so maybe have a few line points docked, but I think this is one of the better runs that we've seen so far. Very aggressive. You can see he's not really making any mistakes. He judged his speed accordingly. He was back on throttle very early, and a good performance overall for Christos Blush.
All right, so Christos Blush awaits his score. They are coming in and seeing a max angle score, which is very impressive as we await the other criteria coming in. Style, which is comprised of fluidity and commitment, and finally line. And do we have a new leader? No, we do not, because it's tied with Chelsea Denofa. That's a 94 and 94 for Christos Blush from Latvia. So again, 94 ties Chelsea Denofa for that #1 spot. It's going to come down to that second run, and of course, still some drivers to run through here.
Well, Jared, you're really starting to see the tendency of the judges and what they're valuing. It seems that the initiation is so important for the setup of the run. So let's take a look here at Daijiro Yoshihara.
Yoshihara, turn 14 distribution, Falcon tire, Subaru BRZ. A straight line approach. So you talk about that initiation and what Dai brought to the table is not what we've seen score highly, but now on the latter portion of this, puts the car in all the right places. Really standing on the throttle. Very fluid, consistent from this turbocharged LS BRZ. I got to tell you, outside of that initiation, but as you said, a lot of the judges scoring coming from that first kickoff.
Well, what we're seeing here is the line is really solid from Daijiro Yoshihara, but you can see big long e-brake pull and then back on the throttle there. The difference between that and Blush and that and Denofa is that particular thing. We're seeing Dai draw a really solid, almost perfect line through that second outer zone, tight on this inside clip here, so I imagine his line points are going to be really high. But as he comes down the hill here, you can see he's tight on that inside touch and go. Nice smooth transition back around. So it's really the initiation in that first inside clip that I think the judges are going to be paying attention to. You can see very long e-brake pull here, and then he lets it go here, but he's back on throttle there, which is about maybe 20 feet past that inside clip.
All right, so Dai Yoshihara's score coming in again, 94 score to beat both Christos Blush and Chelsea Denofa, getting the 94, and Dai Yoshihara's score coming in. Turn 14 distribution, Falcon tires, BRZ. 87, that's 87. Ryan pointed out, yeah, the style 33, so 17 and 16, and worked within that is initiation. So angle good, line leaving some points open there. And again, each judge in their own sector. So one judge is a line judge, one judge angle, and the other one style, which is the fluidity and commitment. Next up, Matt Field. And if you were following Formula Drift's Instagram, you might have saw how transparent he was. Cool, excited, FD takeover. Well, he went hard into the wall yesterday, so his team, hats off to them, getting the car back out here on track. The Wish Falcon tires, drift cage, Corvette. Looks like no problem for him right now. Gets into that second outer zone, throws up some dust. Doing some landscaping here in that Corvette. The beast from the Bay getting the car worked out and just hammering down. Well done by Matt Field.
Well, Matt Field has got an incredible spotter, and you have to imagine he's giving him some feedback on some of these other runs. Watch this here. Again, very limited use of e-brake. Back on the throttle before that inside clip. Now headed up the hill here. You can see nice fluid motion, leaving that first outer zone. Nice job on that second outer zone, just dropping that rear left for a second, but nice and tight around that inside clip. Coming back down the hill here, you can see incredible smoke cloud as he drives through. Right there on the edge of the course for that inside touch and go, and then through that last inside clip through the finish line. Solid performance for Matt Field in run number 1.
Far from shenanigans there for Matt Field as he throws it down. After just a tough night, taking that car to the stretcher, getting the body all worked out, getting it straightened out, putting the bodywork back on, and getting the car up in running order. So hats off to his team for working on the vehicle and getting it back out here on course after a hard hit as he was chasing Forrest Wayne, got blinded by the smoke and got phased and just went hard to the wall. What's Matt Field going to end up with? An 87. So respectable score there for a hard-working night. So you got to think that he's counting his blessings right now, Matt Field, after, again, a hard day's night. Working like a dog. Alec Honadell up next. Changed his livery every event now on his vehicle. He's got the Rain-X livery this round of competition. Alec Honadell. The Rain-X Black Magic Fast Orange. Excuse me, Permatex. Excuse me, Huddy Racing. S14. Let's see what you got, Honadell. A solid initiation, like you said, Ryan. Back on the throttle, just a quick lift and then back on it. Is he overcooking it? Oh, buddy. Really gets into the dirt quite a bit. You saw it was going to come. A big brown cloud. As Honadell, very exciting, very fast, but just overcooked it and burnt the pizza.
Very aggressive driving here. I'm really glad that he didn't zero that out up top because he could have easily just stopped drifting right there. But you can see he's so early back on the throttle before that inside clip. Does a great job on initiation and through that first inside clip. But you can tell tons of speed through that section of the course. Big roost right there. So, you know, a lot of drivers may have just stopped drifting altogether, but he powers through it. He'll get a score on the board. He's going to get some deductions up top through the horseshoe. They're going off course there, but there was very high points in the run and some good takeaways for him and his spotter as they adjust for run number 2. Here it is. You can see he's got a lot of momentum going up the hill, trying to slow down, but just comes up a little bit early on that inside or that outside zone and then drops those wheels off, and now we're paying the price for it up here.
Yeah, right. The drift scum down there getting a mouthful of dust and dirt, but that's what you came for, right? Roasting marshmallows, getting dirt sprayed in your face. That's why the sand people down there, don't worry, they'll come back in greater numbers too down there in the bunker. They are up close and personal. Shenanigans up in your face. There it is. So awaiting Honadell's score. And fluidity, that's where a lot of points were left on the board. You could see it right there, fluidity and then commitment. So a 76, but a score nonetheless for very handsome, let's just call it what it is, Destin, Florida, Alec Honadell. All right, so again, moving along. Looks like we are seeing the other half of the Frenemies. If you haven't followed their video series, Frenemies, it's definitely a captivating, fun show to watch between Odie Bakshish, Matt Field. Two very different cars, two very different people. Friends, enemies, frenemies. Here we go. Odie Bakshish, Falcon tires, drifts wheels, Feel suspension. A big lift from him, Ryan, but you can hear it just hitting that rev limiter, roosting just off and on. Not as fluid as we've expected from Odie in the past. Seems like that car is just absolutely maxed out. Like I said, kind of on and off switch in the keyhole.
Well, let's take a look here. Odie, run number 1. Nice early initiation there. A bit of e-brake pull, but back on the throttle before that inside clip. Trying to set himself up, locking in on that line, coming up the hill here to outside zone number 1. You can see the front wheel locking up there, but he's able to just right there paint A perfect line through that second outer zone, tight on that inside clip, just tapping it a little bit there. Now coming down the hill, you can see he's lining up that inside touch and go, does a pretty decent job there, and then fluid through that last inside clip and through the finish line. Let's take a look at the initiation one more time. You can see very obvious here where he has those e-brake pulls, but he's still letting it roll out. And then boom, right there, back on the throttle. You can see the smoke line starting to generate as he heads up the hill to the second outer zone. And then right here, he lets off in that decel area that Ryan Lantain talked about in the opening. And then perfect, just putting that left rear wheel right there on that white line and drawing a smooth line to that inside clip.
Odi Bakshi's with a 90 for Odi Bakshi, so well done from him. A very respectable score, a solid score from him. As we work our way up the ranks, another teal and blue. JTP this time, originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan. Keep that American flag waving as JTP and his Falcon Tires Roush Performance Ford Mustang is coming down the pipe. Justin Pollock. I have a feeling he's really going to go hard at this initiation. Oh, look at that. No, he kind of pedals it. Not pedals it by any means, but not compared to what he's done in the past, but very fluid from him. And now throws some more angle at it. Woo! Really on the edge of that course. Nice job by JTP, Justin Pollock, performing surgery on this track. Maxing out that angle, Ryan, that was a really exciting point. You see him, he got into that first outer zone and just threw some more angle at it. That was really solid.
Well, I think Justin wants to lay down a clean, respectable run for run number one. He's back on the throttle here in that first inside clip. Now coming up the hill, really laying it on. Smooth line, big angle here, holds it right there, threading the needle. You can see a little bit almost like a late apex, but makes it look smooth on that inside clip. Really like the line that he's drawing here, and you can see he's just a little bit off that inside touch and go, but overall this is a solid performance. I think he's going to save that backward entry for run number two.
Yeah, he likes to go really big on initiation, but as you said, Ryan, you got to think that's going through his mind. Put a safe run on the board, by no means safe, but just an exciting run. Tick the boxes and filling all of that second outer zone. I mean, shoot, he was practically in the laps of drift scum and almost just floated up there, putting that back bumper just over the dirt. And a 95 from JTP. An exciting run, deserves an exciting score. And a 95 for JTP Justin Pollock. Yeah, Ryan, we talk about the exciting backwards entries, but that's not what the judges are looking for, but it's just something we've seen in the past. They're looking for that fluid. Maybe give some more clarity to that, Ryan.
It's not to say that they're not looking for it, it's that it's very, very difficult to do without losing a ton of momentum. So if you can get the right momentum and you can keep consistent flow while doing it, then that's great. But a lot of times what we see is a huge angle and a reduction in speed, and then back on the throttle, and that's what they don't want to see.
Let's see what Ryan Turks got into that first front clip, and a lot of scrubbing of speed. Seems like he initiated a little too early, given his package and what he's got into that second outer zone. He's right there on the course's edge. Nice job by him. So far, so good in the second half of it, but right from the get-go, you saw him take that straight line approach. So Ryan Turk on initiation. Ryan, let's walk us through. You were kind of elaborating on that backwards entry, but here's Turk's entry.
Yeah, you can see Turk using that, kind of breaking it loose the other way, big e-brake pull, and you can see that's the reduction in speed that if he was doing a backwards entry, the judges don't want to see that. They just want to see smooth and consistent flow through that inside clip and getting back on the throttle as quickly as possible. So however you navigate that area, whether it's low angle or huge backwards angle, as long as you're flowing smoothly through that area without that big reduction in speed, that's what they're looking for. Now we have a decel zone here, and you can see that the long e-brake pull is actually hurting Turk there because it's noticeably slowing down his speed through that section of the course. And what we saw from D'Onofrio, what we saw from Pollock, what we saw from these other guys that were in the high 80s to the 90s is we saw the initiation, letting it float out, and then actually even before that inside clip, they're back on throttle and then blasting up the hill. And that's some of the difference I think we've seen in some of these mid-range scores to the very high scores.
All right, so sun is still up here. It's a bit warm, but an 81 for Ryan Turk. As just talking about the heat, it's definitely a hot day, but when that sun drops, last night it got a little windy, which is always helpful because given when we go head-to-head, both Pro 2 and then Pro tomorrow night, when the smoke lingers, it definitely creates a smoke screen as we are waiting for All right, here we go. Forrest Wang, Vape Tasia, Achilles Radial, Get Nuts Laboratory, Sylvia S15 into that first front clip. Perfectly wraps it around. Takes some angle out of it, but now throws some more. NRG Innovations, around that front clip into the keyhole. Forrest Wang changing up his package from 2 years ago with that hiatus last year and comes back, gets on the box at round 1. Ryan?
Well, one thing we've noticed from Forrest that he's maintained his style that he's known for, but he's gained some speed, put some grip in the car. It's really made him dangerous. He had that great performance in Long Beach. You can see he struggles a little bit up the hill there. He kind of loses a little bit of angle for a second, pulls out. I thought the initiation was pretty good. He got back on the throttle early there. Now as he comes down the hill here, you can see he's really mashing the throttle through this inside touch and go. Does a great job of being right on that edge of the track, smooth through that last inside clip, and then finishing up. So I think the judges will favor, his initiation. Did a pretty good job there, but you can see he did lose a good amount of angle coming up the hill for a second there, just making that mistake, and so that will go against him. But overall, Forrest getting a run in the book, and he'll head back for run number 2.
As Forrest Wang's score comes in, that's an 84. An 84 for Forrest Wang. An 84 for Forrest Wang on his first run, position 11. And just a few more drivers to run through here as we are getting into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more drivers left. 4 more drivers left, thank you. 4 more drivers left. This is Peter Visek, the Candyman. The Wordhouse Drift Team Falcon Tires S15 from Poland. Throws it into the first front clip. You can hear him lift and just back on throttle just as he passes the front clip into that first outer zone and then works it into. Nice job. Very fluid. You saw him just roll into that second outer zone. The 2JZ powered S15 past that front clip. Well done from Peter Visek. We've seen him grab that #1 spot before. Can he do it again? The score to beat JTP with that 95.
Well, one of the things we see from the Wordhouse guys is basically near flawless, perfect lines, and that's what you see here from Peter. He does a great job maximizing the line points coming up the hill, threading it perfectly, hitting this inside clip with that nice round line, but keeps it tight, and then back down the hill here, and look how close he is to this inside touch and go. I mean, just dragging that front bumper across the leading edge of the course, and then through that finish line there. The initiation, he breaks it loose a little bit on the left-hand side. E-brake pull maybe a little bit longer than you want, but he's back on throttle right through that first inside clip. So this is a great start for Pieter, and with the way that he's been competing so far this season, I think this is going to be another good run for him in the books as he makes his way back up the hill for run number 2.
All right, and Peter Visek with a 94 for Peter Visek. Pieter.
You say Visek and I say
Pieter Visek. There. I say Peter, you say Visek. Peter. All right, so Visek with a 94, just noting that down. Next up, 3rd overall right now in points, Chris the Force Forsberg, NOS Energy Drink. Next in tires, 370Z. He got the victory at the previous round of competition in Orlando. As Forsberg makes his way through the chicane Here comes Forsberg, another FD veteran since day one, 15 years. Little brown cloud gets thrown up. On the throttle, the VQ powered 370Z. You can hear him lifting quite a bit on and off the throttle. Sounding very strained there. You can hear him kind of powering through. But up here in the keyhole, you could really hear a dramatic lift on and off. Let's take a look at this again, Ryan on the line.
Ryan the Lion?
Ryan the Lion.
Here's the initiation. You can see Forsberg on a little bit later past that inside clip. Now coming up the hill here, Jared, watch the smoke line. That's where you're talking about, the little bit of lift just right before he enters. But that is a slow down area, but you can see he did miss that second outer zone a little bit. I like the line that he drew here through that second inside clip. Now coming back down the hill here, pretty good job on that inside touch and go, and then smooth transition back around to the finish line. Now Forsberg, one of the biggest takeaways from last round was how well he was able to do in the latter rounds of competition in terms of tire conservation and managing grip in his car. We saw James Dean not able to stay with some of the drivers as he was coming around that last turn in Orlando. Forsberg had a little bit of a different approach here, and he was able to use that to get to the finals and get that win. We haven't seen him back on the podium for a while, and there's his first score.
An 88 for Forsberg puts him into 6th position. And we have 2 more drivers left, and James Dean, who is our defending champion last year, comes back after 7 years of not being in Formula Drift competition, commits to a full season, joins Peter Visick in a 2-car Wardhouse Drift team, identical cars, almost nearly identical outside of the color of the roofs and their numbers from a physical standpoint, but very different driving styles, but also very similar. So 2 very dynamic drivers, but right now it's all about James the Machine Dean. James Dean throws it in. Man, you can really hear those Falcon tires bark. Consistent all the way up into that second outer zone. Really well done on that second outer zone, exiting the horseshoe. You know he's gonna bring it in. Boom, right there, just hangs the bumper over that rumble strip. And the machine lives up to his name once again. Want to look at this once again here on initiation.
Well, I mean, if you didn't know that that was James Dean, that was pretty much, at least in my mind, at first pass, a replica run of Pieter's run. He basically got back on throttle right at the same time. He drew pretty much the same line through that second outer zone, through this second inside clip here, maxing out the angle, smooth, fluid transition down the hill. Nice job, very tight on that inside touch and go, and then through the finish line. I mean, without the 130 on the top, that seems like a mere run to Peter Visick, so I imagine it's going to be quite a bit, kind of ways up there. You can see trying not to use the e-brake, letting the car flow, then back on the throttle early. And let's see what the judges have to say.
All right, so as we wait for James Dean's score, we have 1 more driver after that, and it is the winner from round 1, Long Beach, California, Frederick, the Norwegian Hammer Osbo. Scores are in as the judges are taking one last glance. 95, a 95, again tied with JTP, that's a 95. Tied with Justin Pollock for that #1 position. So great way to start that. And yeah, taking a look at the different criteria there, Ryan. Strong showing from James Dean. Again, these guys vying for some cash, vying for some Black Magic product as the #1 qualifier, the top qualifier award, wins the Bling medal. And Osbo got that in Orlando. Can he do it again? Frederick, the Norwegian Hammer Osbo, slamming that Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla on Nexen tires. Look at that, just flying up in that hot hatchback. Rides the line, keeps it out there too. Looked like he was just gonna hit it and quit it, but keeps it out there in that zone. Hangs the bumper. Just absolutely executing on this course, Ryan.
Well, he is your current leader, and you see why here. Nice initiation, back on throttle right there, and then mashes it up the hill. Osbo in his lead runs, it looks a lot like this. He's really just mastered that. You can see great job on this second outer zone, wrapping through this inside clip here, tight. Nice line as he exits the horseshoe, coming down the hill, maybe just a touch wider than what we saw from James Dean, but a great run nonetheless. And the lead runs from Frederick Osbo have really made the difference I think, in recent history for him, because it's been so hard for other drivers to go out and throw as clean of a lead run, and then they're just at a disadvantage there because Osmo is such a great chase driver. And as we can see from this run from him in qualifying, Papadakis Racing has really been able to fabricate an incredible car, and let's see what the judges think.
Frederick Osmo, a 94, so just a bit outside. So again, James Dean, JTP, the top scorer so far after run 1. So again, who's going to come back? Who's going to go for it? Again, hopefully Ryan Little's got his car together when we come back. Run 2 for all our Formula Drift Pro drivers. This is the Napa Auto Parts Road to the Championship presented by Rain-X. Round 3 of the Formula Drift Blackmagic Pro Championship here at Road Atlanta. Run 2 from all the drivers when we come back. All right, welcome back here to round 3 of the Formula Drift Blackmagic Pro Championship. And this is the Napa Auto Parts Road to the Championship presented by Rain-X. I'm Jared Deanna. Joining me up here once again, Ryan Sage, and just got insight from Ryan Literal. Sorry, not Ryan Literal, Ryan Lontaine. Sorry, I got my Ryan L's mixed up. Ryan Literal's warming up his tires at the top of the hill. But getting some insight from Ryan Lantain, one of our 3 judges, next to Brian Eggert and Andy Yen. And Literal, this is do or die for him, coming from the 909, running this 370Z here from CoroWorks right here in Atlanta. Let's see what we got here from Ryan Literal. And Ryan Literal coming down. Again, a new car for him. Locks it up. You see a little bit of braking. Now back on throttle. Brings it up the hill. Throws some more angle at it. Literal stomps on it into that second outer zone. Nexen tires going to blaze. Definitely a powerhouse machine for Ryan Literal, who will be putting a score on the board. You saw a hard brake stomp there out of the gate, Ryan, and again, just you got to think a lot of nerves run through his veins.
Well, we saw him throw down a mid-80s run last night in Pro 2, but you can see just really struggling there on the initiation. Wasn't able to get full commitment. The rate to angle really wasn't there. It was just overall just really struggled with that particular part of the course. Then you can see up there was not able to get his line set up properly. I mean, really, he only needs a score, so that's really what he was trying to do there. But the pressure was on. He had to perform, and it looks like he will get a score on the board. He'll make it into tomorrow's competition, so that's really all that matters. But he'll have a lot to think about overnight and figure out what he needs to do in order to be ready for competition tomorrow. Here's that little mistake that he made, kind of pulled some angle out of the car, wasn't able to reach all the way out to that outside zone. But the run is over now, and the score awaits.
All right, the CoroWorks 370Z. All right, so the judges really scrutinizing the run here. And again, we have the 3-2-1 cones, and they are to initiate by that final one standing cone. That's just off to the left. And let's take a look at this again. 3-2-1 right there, and then you see him lock it up and throw it in. Ryan,
yeah, we saw that a lot in Pro 2 last night. Guys that were going very far past that last standing cone. It didn't necessarily result in an incomplete, but you can see that he just had so much trouble with the initiation. He wasn't really able to fully commit to the initiation. Right there, he tried to, and almost is kind of like a double pump. So he's right on that line, and we'll see what the judges think.
All right, so Literal awaiting the scores. All right, the judge is still analyzing this run here. All right, so again, the judges, the scores are in, and I'm thinking that it is not such good news for Ryan Literal, unfortunately. And the scores are in for Ryan Literal, and that will be, from what I saw over the shoulder, that is an incomplete run. So unfortunately for Ryan Literal, that is an incomplete run. I see Lantain put his headset on, and Lantain, please.
We clearly, as you saw, we watched. I'm not on. Not on. Yeah, we watched the replay multiple times, and he tried to feint entry, and it didn't happen. The car ended up going straight, and it was worse than what we would consider a double initiation, because he tried to initiate. The car didn't even initiate at all, drove straight for quite a while, and then had to pull the handbrake, and that was a lot later than we would allow for a late initiation, so we had to incomplete it.
Yeah, and you know, to the naked eye, it looks like, again, to the naked eye. All right, here we go. Taylor Hull. Taylor Hull with his second run. He has a 73 on his first run. He's from here in Georgia, so cheer on your local Georgia boy. As the comp cams, Achilles tire, Cadillac, ATS-V. Doesn't get all the way to the outside zone, but tightens it up to that front clip. Exits out of the keyhole. And then into the front clip goes Taylor Hull. Seeming a lot more comfortable behind the wheel of his Cadillac.
Well, he's got that 73, so he's in the mix, but another driver's struggling. You can see he had a little bit of an approach there. He kind of hesitated for a second. He missed that first inside clip, and you can see he doesn't get back on the throttle till well after that first inside clip. Now coming up the hill here, he does a good job drawing a line, but it's a shallower line. He's not able to get to that touching or that second outside zone. Now coming down the hill here, he's going to want to ride along that inside line towards that touch and go. He's a little bit long there, so he's making some mistakes. He's got that 73. He's in the show, but trying to improve his performance. There's kind of like that double pump that shows a little bit of hesitation there.
Man, definitely these guys, again, you're seeing them. All right, as we look at the run once again here for the judges.
Yeah, it's never a positive sign when the judges want to look at a run again fully through. It means they're wanting to see if there's anything that could be justified as an incomplete. I have to imagine it's going to come down to the initiation, as we just saw from Ryan Littoral. But either way, Hull is in the competition tomorrow. It won't matter. He's just trying to improve on that 73.
All right, so as still waiting for the scores from the judges. Like you said, Ryan is 73. Keeps him in contention, or in head-to-head competition, I should say. And right now, as it stands, Ryan, we have 20. Shoot, we have a few drivers with zeros, but 63 for Taylor Hull. We have 28 drivers who have thrown down scores. Federico Sharifo, we are hearing that he will be running, but we have Kevin Lawrence, who has an incomplete run, Farouk, as well as Rad Dan. So, as well as Matt Van Kirk. So 4 drivers. So that would mean 24 drivers. So that's a considerable amount of buys. So they need to put a run on the board in order to have 28 drivers and potentially 29 if Federico puts a score on the board. So right now it is that of, oh yeah, I forgot about Dean Carney. Dean Carney also a no-show on his first run. Dean Carney, Oracle Lighting, Dodge Viper on Achilles tires. Switching to a turbocharged setup as opposed to supercharged. Dean Carney in his Dodge Viper had some words with Robin Ishida earlier in his JE Pistons Tech Talk. And yeah, Dean didn't have a first run either.
Well, dealing with the pressure well here is Dean Carney. You can see on initiation, he's back on throttle right there, right before that first inside clip. Nice line coming up the hill here, really trying to get deep into that first outer zone. Now on the second outer zone, he's just right there at the edge, so great job by Dean. Fluid line around that inside clip now coming down the hill here. Let's see how he gets into this inside touch and go. Great job there. I mean, this is a well-executed performance for Dean Carney, who had that zero or no-show on that run number 1. You can see there just a little bit of a mishap there. He's on the e-brake, he's back on throttle, then on the e-brake again, just making some adjustments, so the judges surely will look at that. Got a good vantage point from the judges' cam up here, but overall well executed. With a lot of pressure on him on run number 2.
All right, so the scores are in here, and an 81 for Dean Carney, so that's solidifying. So again, 29 drivers completing one of their 2 runs, but right now we have, again, 1, 2, 3, 4 incomplete runs. So right now only 25 drivers with scores. Win a set of wheels. Tag a photo of you watching this weekend's event. Hashtag FDDRIFZ. Why not win a set of wheels from Drift's Wheels? You're sitting there twiddling your thumbs, watching the John Deere tear up this track right here. So why not hashtag FDDRIFZ and enter to win a free set of Drift's Wheels as run by Aramis Ori Bakshis in his Drifts Falcon tires. And then join myself and Ryan Sage, your hosts of Formula Drift on CBS Sports Network, turn up the bass on the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship premiering May 16th. So shoot, that's what was that, next week? Man, 5 days. That's crazy. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check formuladr.com for your local listings. Formula Drift on CBS Sports Network. All right, next up. So not seeing Kazuya Taguchi. All right, so Taguchi is a scratch on his second run. So right now it is Kevin Lawrence. Again, Kevin Lawrence, he had 2 runs in qualifying in Pro 2, unable to throw down a run. So he will not be seeing Pro 2 competition. And right now, he is sitting on an incomplete run once again. He needs to put down a score, otherwise he will not see any Formula Drift competition tonight or tomorrow night. Here we go, Kevin Lawrence in Juku Racing, S14.3. Brings it in. Past that first front clip. Looking like his eyes are on the prize now here for K-Law. Past that second outer zone, scrubs a lot of speed. He's off that front clip, looks like potentially hiccuping there. Now brings it a wide apex there out of the keyhole and past the front clip. So Kevin Lawrence, no pressure, buddy, but puts it together. Kevin Lawrence puts a run on the board, Ryan.
Well, even though that wasn't the best run we've seen from Kevin, he certainly did well under the pressure, especially on the initiation. We saw him struggle there with the past 3 runs. He's able to get through that pretty much unfazed. Now coming up the hill, hitting this first outer zone into the second outer zone, a little bit late and short on that. And you can see it really pushes him much wider than he needs to be on that second inside clip. Now coming down the hill here, pretty decent job, but kind of a wonky line coming through that section before he gets to the finish line. But it's all really just small criticisms in the overall scheme of things. He's gonna get a score. He's gonna be into tomorrow's competition, and that's pretty much what his goal was here in run number 2.
All right, so Kevin Lawrence does get a score. The scores are in. And a 66. So a lackluster score, but a score nonetheless. A 66 will allow him to see head-to-head competition tomorrow night under the lights. So Kevin Lawrence with a 66. Next up, Jeff Jones in his Doc Falcon Tires Edelbrock 370Z, coming to us from Southern California. And Jones through the start chicane. He is currently sitting on a 66 as well. Let's see if he can better it here. Throws it in at that final clip, takes out that front clip just narrowly. Good posture from the 370Z. Him lighten it up. Past the front clip, out of the keyhole. Into that touch and go area and past the front clip. Gotta say that to me by the naked eye looks a lot better than a 66. There goes Jeff Jones.
Yeah, definitely agree. That was better than the 66. You can see he has a much better time on this initiation. He's back on throttle right at that inside clip. He's drawing a good line coming up the hill, has a little bit of angle taken out at just slightly. I mean, very, very small, but then he's able to get that second outer zone through that inside clip, wrapping through, nice fluid transition coming down the hill. And then right there, just about 6 inches away from that yellow marking on the edge of the course, but I definitely think this was better than the 66.
All right, so Jeff Jones, his run being analyzed here by the judges. Next up, we have Austin Meeks. He's at the top of the hill, already warmed up his tires. Check, check. Lep. There we go. An 82, so considerable points jump there. So an 82 on a second run jumps him up to 17th spot. All right, next up, Austin Meeks. with an 81 on his first run. I'm sure he's going to go for it here on his second run. All right, here we go. Austin Meeks, that Galp committed auto service of Healy's tire. S14.5 as Meeks, like I said, a strong showing on his first run into that second outer zone, tied to the front clip. Snaps it back and down the hill. Oh, and he gets disrupted as he exited the horseshoe. You saw him just dip a toe in, but it grabs the whole foot, and he breaks an ankle there. As Austin Meeks, that will be an incomplete run, but he has that 81 on his first run, Ryan.
And he'll have to settle for that. Meeks here just initiating past that last standing cone on the e-brake. You can see a little bit late on the throttle through that first inside clip. Going up the hill here, trying to lock into that line that gets him deepest into that second part, or that second outer zone rather. Now coming down the hill here, you can see as he reaches towards and starts a transition coming down the hill, puts a lot of angle in the car, and you can see the front end dips over into the grass, and he's not able to complete it, has to pull out of it, and that will be an incomplete. Let's take a look at it here, Jared, as we slow it down. The angle really is what bites him. And then right here, you can see he goes off course.
Yeah, it seemed like a combination of the angle and he just dipped it in as he exited the keyhole. So officially, Austin Meeks with an incomplete run on his second run, but his first run of an 81 will stand to be the better of the two, obviously. So next up, Kyle Mohan, the menace from Long Beach, California, who is piloting the American Ethanol Mazda Trix, Mazda MX-5. How you doing, Ryan? It's a hot one out here, huh, bud?
Yeah, getting nicely blasted in the face.
You're getting a solid blast. All right, here we go. This is Kyle Mohan on his second run. He has a 76 on his first run. He looks really strong. Can he do it again, or let's see if he can do it better? Some wavering there. Oh, throws some kitty litter, just puts the back end of his MX-5, just dips it in. That front clip. See flames shooting out of that thing. A lot of action, a lot of noise coming from Kyle Mohan. His line score will be affected, obviously, given not only just dipping his back end there in the kitty litter, but also throughout the course.
Well, looking to better that 76, and you can see just gets out of whack through that first inside clip, does drop off there for a second, so the line is really going to suffer. And especially in that one section coming through there, that is a style judged zone. So as we see him pass through that second inside clip, little flames come out there for Kyle Mohan. He does have that 76, so he's trying to better that. Not sure if that's going to do it, but nonetheless, he's into competition for tomorrow.
All right, so Mohan awaits his score. All right, so as Mohan waits for his score on his second run. And that will be an incomplete run. Going to Lantain. Ryan, a little elaboration there, an incomplete run, bud.
Yeah, looking at, I don't have.
I can interpret. Or there you go, you're back.
All right. Just looking at what occurred on the track there after inside clip one, or going by inside clip one, he had very low angle, almost no angle at all. He ended up going two wheels off, and then when he transitioned, which was way early, he ended up stalling up. We would rate that under an unchaseable run. We're connecting the qualifying runs now more to tandem, so in a tandem sense, that would be unchaseable.
Thank you for elaboration. Well, we are getting word that Farouk Kawai, he has opted out, so that means double incomplete runs for him. He broke two axles, he broke a diff, so unfortunately he is out. But happy to see, so unfortunately for him, he won't be seen head-to-head. But right now, Federico Sharifo coming to us from Italy with this Ferrari, and what I understand is they machined an axle just before this run. So they went locally, machined an axle for this Ferrari 588. Here we go. So Federico Sharifo, who had an exciting kickoff to the season in Long Beach by flambang, probably one of the most expensive off the showroom floor vehicle, but right now it's in that outer zone. And it looks like, I don't know if that axle is gonna help him. And, oh man, Federico Sharifo with this very iconic now car, this Ferrari 588, that will unfortunately be all she wrote for Federico. So even through all the hard work, Federico and his Triple F drifting department team will have 2 incomplete runs, Ryan.
Yeah, big bummer there for Federico. It looked like he was starting off pretty decently and got through that first inside clip. You can see he's on the throttle a bit later there, but he's looking to just lay down a score. Now coming up into the keyhole, this is where it starts to get a little bit troubling for him. Right there, the car shuts down and he was trying to get back on the throttle, trying to make
left not burning,
trying to kick it out, but obviously something is mechanically unsound with the vehicle, and he does have a clear incomplete.
Well, like I said, right before this, they machined an axle, and you can see that back left. It was a one-wheeler peeler, and just trying to power through, but unfortunately not working out to his advantage. So like you said, Ryan, seems like right here, you even see it. So he's surprisingly still powering up the hill. And watch. You see that back left, it just starts smoking right there. So Federico Sharifo has had definitely a slice of humble pie throughout this season. A very unique car, still got a smile on his face, loves the experience, loves all the camaraderie here of the drifting community, but unfortunately for him, that will be a no-show in head-to-head competition for tomorrow's head-to-head. All right, so we will pull Federico off the course. And if you would like to win a MagnaFlow exhaust, why not pull out your phone and text MF Drift to 555-888. It's as simple as that. You can win a MagnaFlow exhaust. Compliments of MagnaFlow, so text MF Drift to 555-888. You got some time. So pull it out, text, and win. Also, ready to see and create Formula Drift content? Embrace the heat. Start the conversation. Join the community. Go to formuladee.com. You see some hidden reward points where you can win some goods and add to the conversation that is the Formula Drift community at formuladee.com. Hover over the community button, click it, and join. As at the top of the hill. And also, if you haven't downloaded the Formula Drift app, please do so, because not only can you watch all the live scoring alerts and stats, exclusive content, breaking news alerts, notifications, you can win some goods. Buy your tickets for future rounds of competition. Again, make our way to New Jersey, Seattle, Texas, and then eventually Irwindale, California. Exclusive games. Oh, and also St. Louis, I might add. St. Louis, a new round. Midwest, exclusive games, contents, and special video features available for Google Play and download at the Apple Store. Rad Dan Burkett in his Toyota Supra on Nexen tires. As Dan, we are just not even halfway through the second runs, taking a look at the schedule. Remember, Pro 2 is this evening. So we'll have right after this, we will have the GT4586 of Ryan Turk out here doing some ride-alongs. We'll have a driver's meeting. That's just internal for us. But official practice for Pro 2 from 9 to 9:45. And then opening ceremonies. And we'll be going live stream at 9:45. Here we go, Rad Dan. In his Toyota Supra, Rad Dan already sitting on, or sorry, not sitting on a score. This is do or die for Dan Burkett. He needs to put down a score. The Nexen tires go ablaze through the keyhole. Looks like he's keeping it consistent. Remember, he had that mistake on initiation, but now, no problem. Rad Dan will be getting a score. Let's take a look at this again. I don't want to speak too soon here. But 3, 2, 1, flicks it in right there.
Yeah, and big, long e-brake pull. But again, Jared, he's just looking to get that score. But either way, with some of the mistakes that were made, I just love the way that he brings this driving style to the table. It's very fast, it's aggressive, it's very smoky. It's such an exciting driver. Been really love watching him develop. And it looks like he is going to lock a score here and get ready for tomorrow's competition.
All right, so Dan Burkett, Rad Industries, Nexen Tires, Toyota Supra. Looks like he will be parting in the rear, talking about tomorrow head-to-head competition in the hair game. And what do we got here? Scores are in for Dan Burkett, an 83. An 83 puts him into 17th position. So it's an 83 for Rad Dan. He will be seen head-to-head. Who he goes against is still TBD. Top of the hill, Jonathan Castro. Jonathan Castro, who is, and it really is, truly just progressing more and more every round of competition. And we've seen him now here for 3 or 4 years and has progressed considerably. As Castro sending cars. Here we go. Castro, Jardot, Metal Dum, Nexen Tires, Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. Castro throws it in. Right at that last standing cone. Back on throttle quickly. You can see some wavering just a little bit. And then just quickly goes from that second outer zone, just kind of had a beeline approach to that front clip. I'd have to say he's just really kind of ticking the boxes there. He filled both of the zones. He got to the front clips. He did everything he needed to do. I'd like to see him just be a little more fluid.
Well, I like the way that he made adjustments on the initiation. You can see he does have that e-brake pull, but it's not super long, and he's back on throttle much earlier than he was before, way before that inside clip. A little bit of wavering coming up the hill there, but it's not super bad. Making an adjustment, coming into the keyhole. He's able to fill that second outer zone. Great job being nice and tight on that inside clip. I mean, to me, at first pass, this is much better than the 71. You can see he's right at the track edge lead there, and then through that last inside clip, great throttle control there. So I think this will be a vast improvement. You can see e-brake, lets it run, he's floating, and then right here, he's back on throttle, and you can see that smoke line instantly generate.
Yep, yeah. Good job there from Mr. Castro. Like here, though, but this is what I was talking about. Watch how he just kind of shoots in towards there. I'd like to see him just kind of bring it out a little more, but he does a good job getting tight to that front clip. So 71 is his first score, and 87, so a considerable jump for him. For Castro, a 71 to an 87, number 10 position in qualifying. Yeah. Next up, Vaughn Gittin Jr., Monster Energy, Nitto Tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR. He had an 87 on his first run. I'm going to think that he's going to throw down. This is a good opportunity for him to get familiar with the course. Really ripping up the hill. You can see how loose the suspension setup is. Look at that thing just rocking back and forth. Ready to rock and roll out of the keyhole. You saw a little bit of a disruption in his line, but he just jumped right back on it. But Ryan, the only point of contention for me was, again, it comes out of the keyhole, just kind of almost pause for a moment.
Well, you can see very snappy initiation, and again, very early back on the throttle. So I think he's executing the initiation very well. You can see the three-wheel motion there, and just floats it out to that second outer zone. Great job there, draws that line nice and tight on that inside clip. Now coming back down the hill here, throws angle in the car. That's that part you were talking about, Jared, but it's very, very minimal. He's got that 87. I have to think that this is going to be around there, if not higher. It seemed to be a little bit more aggressive. His initiation was a bit more on point. He was able to get really deep into that second outer zone, so we'll see if the judges agree with that. But overall, strong performance for Vaughn. We've seen him do very well at this course. He has a win here just a few years back, so looking to get back into contention here, and that's what that little section there that you were talking about, Jared.
All right, so does that beat an 87? Where does that land him? This is definitely a confidence builder for him, and it does not. An 83, an 83 there for Vaughn Gittin Jr. The sun is setting, and man, cools down about 10 degrees as that sun sets, and the lights are coming on. The lights will come on the vehicles, and the fans can, and ourselves can kind of breathe a sigh of relief. That sun definitely brutal. I'd say it was more brutal here than it was even in Orlando, as Matt Kaufman comes firing out of that start chicane. The 959 Achilles Radial Thunderbolt Racing. Thunderbolt Fuel into that first outer zone. Delivers into the second outer zone. Kind of just fills about half of that second outer zone. Gets to that front clip. Flying down the hill. Great angle there. Really solid execution on that touch and go. And that final clip. Ryan, just in the keyhole, I say, just kind of briefly got involved with that second outer zone.
Well, it's all the aggression of that first run and then some, but that e-brake pull a bit long. You can see he gets back on throttle way past that first inside clip, and then coming up the hill here, you can see he does a pretty good job into this second outer zone. He's got a lot of angle in the car. He realizes he's on a tight line there, so he makes a little bit of adjustment to get around. Smooth transition back out of the keyhole, coming down the hill nice and tight through that inside touch and go, and then right there, finishing it up through the finish line. So Matt Kaufman sitting on that 86. Was that better than run number one? Here's that initiation. You can see very evident long e-brake pull, still going. Now he's off throttle here, and then right there he kicks it back on.
Scores are in for Kaufman, an 86 on his first run. Where does this go? An 83. So similar to that of Gittin. First run, the better of the two. Both their second runs in 83. But we will be seeing them head to head, and that's where push comes to shove. All right, next up, Matt Van Kirk. This is do or die for him. Closet Creations, Popeye Energy Drink, S13. As Van Kirk, very fluid right now. Almost kind of a silent assassin. Doesn't get all the way to that second outer zone, just wants to play it safe and get a score on the board. Van Kirk, again, with an incomplete run on his first run. Van Kirk makes his way back up the hill, Ryan.
Well, did not succumb to the pressure. Overall performance was pretty good. We'll see where this locks him in. This is really just going to be about positioning for Van Kirk as he passes through that first inside clip, heading back up the hill here. You can see the throttle on, trying to manage the speed, scrub some, and comes up a little bit short to that second outer zone. Better job there through that inside clip. Leaves the horseshoe right on that middle line. Now back down the hill. Right there on the yellow and black markers, coming through that final inside touch and go, and then through the finish line. And again, Jared, we've just seen a varying amount of different types of initiations and when drivers are back on throttle, and you've just seen the guys that are in the mid to high 90s, or excuse me, low to mid 90s, just getting back on the throttle early, minimal use of e-brake, showing that they have the car control and the ability to really push the limits here without using all those inputs.
All right, so an 80 from Van Kirk. Well done there. And yeah, Ryan, you talked about the drivers progressing. Now is when we start to get into those 90s. I mean, every driver after this outside of Honodale is either a 90 or an 80. And we kick things off with Chelsea DeNofa, who's at the top of the hill. Again, 94, 88, 84, 85, 94. We start getting to that. Honodale has the lowest score out of the next 15 drivers, and that was a 76. So it gives you any idea or any indication of the caliber of drivers that we still have left to run in second run. Whoa, Honodale, sorry, DeNofa. Oh my gosh, I got phased by who it was. Chelsea DeNofa throws it down, fills that second outer zone into that front clip. There aren't going to be any Nitto tire rubber left. Is this our new #1 qualifier? Ryan Sage with that gangster entry. The crowd explodes here. Again, I was talking about Denofa, but oh man.
Well, Denofa pushing the limits of what the judges are going to have to judge. Huge angle here, but see how quickly he gets back on the throttle. He's on the throttle way before. Now he has a little bit of a flub after that section of the course, but this is really kind of like something that we really haven't seen before. Pushing it to the extreme levels and really having it pay off in certain areas. I mean, this is a really fun run to watch. You can see he hits all the zones, especially that last inside touch and go. And let's see this initiation again. Huge angle, very minimal use of e-brake. He's letting it float. Look at, he's on the throttle right here. And then right there, he just has a little bit of a tough time transitioning, but you have to give it up for the execution on that section of the course. I mean, if you're going to do it like that, that's the way that it's going to get done. The judges will have to take a look at how this is going to play into the overall scheme of things. But Denofa knows he has the 94, pushed it. You know, will it go up there? I think that mistake in between inside clip 1 and going up the hill is probably going to have an impact, but very exciting and great driving by Chelsea.
Wow, so an 88 there for Denofa. You can see missing some points in line, but style 15 and 17. There's a lot of points there left on the board for Chelsea Denofa there, because again, you got, Fluidity. Yeah, the fluidity was 15 when, yeah. All right, so next up, Michael Essa. Michael Essa here with an 88 as well on his first run. You can hear him running through the gears, rolls into it. Again, just something that Essa has really mastered is just the fluidity, just very calm, cool, collect, kind of like his demeanor outside of the car is driving, really an embodiment of his personality outside the car, inside the car as the Essa Autosports Achilles tire BMW. Just nice, cool, calm, collect. Did what he needed to do, nothing super over the top, but very well done.
Yeah, you described it perfectly. Calm, cool, and collected, but vicious behind the wheel. Great job through that first section of the course. The initiation was smooth. He got back on throttle just a little bit past that first inside clip. Now coming up the hill here, you can see he's right there, that left rear wheel right on the line. And now back down the hill through this transition. Great job there on that inside touch and go, driving through a big plume of his own smoke, and then finishing it off is Michael Essa. Here's the initiation. You can see just letting it roll, floating it out there, and then boom, back on the throttle. So nicely done there by Michael Essa, looking to better in 88.
All right, so again, let's see what we got for Michael Essa on his second run. He has an 88 on his first run. Does he better it? And the scores are in. He does, a 92, so a significant jump. He jumps up to 7th position, a 92 for Essa Autosports and the Achilles tire BMW. So a 92 jumps him up to 7th spot. Next up, Dirk Stratton, some more Achilles tire in the air. Some still lingers. Dirk Stratton from OHIO. Lingenfelter, Stratton Chevrolet, Corvette, hashtag DriftVet. Comes Dirk, the Dagger Strat, made his first top 16 showing in Orlando. Some corrections there from Dirk. Gets that second outer zone. The Fortune Auto suspension banging away. Sounds a lot more healthy of an exhaust note here on the second run. But Stratton with an 84 on his first run.
Well, here we go. Let's take a look at this. Initiating, back on throttle right there through that inside clip, just taps it. Now coming up the hill here, this is where he pulls a little bit of angle out of the car. You can see almost coming straight, but he's able to quickly make that adjustment, fill that second outer zone through that inside clip. Nice, smooth transition coming down the hill, and then this last one is real pretty here. Snap, right there, holds the angle, finishes it up, and he was actually driving around the cone that he had hit that landed on course. As we take a look at Stratton here, slow-moing it up the hill. and he's got that 84, Jared. So after pulling a little bit of angle out of the car, this is where he makes that adjustment. He's able to fill that second outer zone. And now he's going to find himself driving right towards that cone that he hit coming down the hill here. And let's see what the judges have to say.
Wow, so, you know, traditionally in the past few rounds, we've seen the drivers progress, but the scores coming in, and that does not better his first run. That's an 81 on his second run. So Dirk Stratton, his first run of the two, yeah, the 12 and 16, a lot of points there, Ryan. And maybe you should point that out. Style, it's fluidity first and commitment second. All right, so again, 30, 30, and then the remaining points, you do the math. You got 40 points left, so 20 and 20 in each category. So a lot of points left in the style category. Next up, the Goosh, Ken Gooshie. Toyota Racing Greddy Performance Parts. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. He's on Falcon tires. Here we go, Goosh, FD veteran, day one. We've seen him grow up. He was just a little boy, now here he is, big man, big angle. The Goosh brings that vehicle, that hot rod, up into that first outer zone, into that second outer zone. Here I'm winding it up and wind it down. Fluid past that final front clip. Gooshie had an 85 on his first run. Ryan, what do you think? Is that better it?
Well, I think he's still leaving some points on the table with the initiation. You can see big, long e-brake pull here. He's not really letting it roll. And then he slows down noticeably. And he gets back on throttle after that first inside clip. And we've seen the tendency of the judges. We kind of know what they're looking for there. I want to see you get back on the throttle as early as possible. He's a little bit short on that second outer zone. Better job on that inside clip. Good line being drawn through here. As he comes back down the hill, you can see just outside of that inside touch and go. But fluid transition back around tight on that inside clip and finishes it off strong.
There's Gooshie on the initiation way before, but look at that. Yeah, e-brake yank, still on it, yank, let go, yank, yank. So doesn't flat spot his tire, but man, dang near. Switching up to those black rear wheels, but again, rule instituted this year was about either having a tire logo or a rim marker or stripe to basically take a look at the e-brake yank. And look at that, he goes 85 and 85. So Gooshie, picture perfect, copies his first score in 85 back-to-back. Kristaps Blush. Kristaps, this dude is a madman. Again, a 94 on his first run. Great looking vehicle. Again, the Eurofighter, the E92 Eurofighter, HGK Racing Team. This car is a beast. Mass Motorsports. He's got a 94 he's got to beat. It's a beautiful evening here at Road Atlanta. Blazing a trail here on Achilles tires, gets out to that second outer zone, tight to that front clip, navigates perfectly, and now brings it all the way back to where it all began. Kristaps Blush. Woo! Man, unbelievable. Ryan, just that was just a flawless run from Kristaps.
Nasty, and again, it starts with the initiation. Look, rolling, 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 boom, right back on throttle.
That was sick.
More than 60 feet before that first inside clip, and see how it rockets him up. He makes a little tiny flub there, but he's able to fill that second outer zone. You can really see how tight he is into that inside clip, wrapping around, beautiful line there, leaving the horseshoe, now coming down the hill. He's right on that yellow and black marker on that second inside, or that final inside touch and go, and he had that 94, but let's take a look at this initiation again. I mean, this is really what the judges are looking for. Boom. It's that flow, and then back on throttle there, and he's carrying so much speed up the hill. He's getting his timing just right. There's that little tiny flub, and you can see maybe a little points left there, but I mean, it's a great run overall. This is beautifully executed here, just nice and tight on that inside clip, down the hill. I imagine some points left on the table.
94, so backs it up with a 94, Ryan. That does not beat, we have two drivers with a 95, JTP and James Dean, but Kristaps Blush, just one dude to watch. And the best part about it is with all that amplitude and all that intensity, he still is a phenomenal chase driver. He's going to be one to watch here this weekend if he could put it together and calm his nerves. And I love just that's kind of a I don't know, kind of a metaphor, just barely slapping that Black Magic intense clipping point. That's kind of his style, just little just to let you know his presence is felt. All right, next up, Dai Yoshihara. He has an 87 on his first run. This turn 14 distribution, Falcon tires, Subaru BRZ. You see those white rims. Looks like he runs through, no problem for him. A lot more fluid than his first run. Big angle to that second outer zone. Is that going to pay off? It does. Nice job by Dai Yoshihara, and then another FD veteran celebrating 15 years here at Road Atlanta and overall for the championship since day one, homie. Well done by Dai Yoshihara.
Well, he definitely must have listened to his spotter. Look how much he improved on the initiation here. He snaps right to it, holds the angle, and look at the wheels just rolling back on throttle just right there at that first inside clip. Now heading up the hill here, little tiny adjustment being made, but then big angle being used to fill that second outer zone. Tight here through this second inside clip. Now coming back down the hill here, looking for this inside touch and go. He's right there, just a tiny bit outside. And he had that 87. I have to imagine this is going to be in the ballpark, if not better. So Daijiro Yoshihara making at least an improvement on the initiation. I mean, this he's allowing it to float, and then he's back on throttle. If he got on throttle maybe a little bit earlier, that might have been the only improvement, but overall, it's a fun run to watch. And I have to imagine that the judges, especially in the horseshoe, was very, very impressive.
All right, scores are in for Dai Yoshihara, 96, a 96. He is now our #1 qualifier, a Black Magic top qualifier is right now Dai Yoshihara, but we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more drivers left to go. Matt Field has let us know that he will not be taking his second run. That'll be an incomplete run for Matt Field on his second run. He still sits on an 87, so he's breathing a sigh of relief after a long evening. So as it stands, the top 4 qualifiers get a bye run in top 32. Honadale wants to be in that club. Again, the lowest score of the last 9 drivers. Can he better a 76? Alec Honadale in that Rain-X Gum Out Fast Orange Nexen Tire S14. He has something to prove right now, and it seems like Honadale passed that final front clip. A solid job from him, Ryan. Again, a 76 on his first run.
Well, this is clearly a better job done in almost every area. You can see here he's allowing the momentum of the vehicle to carry. He's back on the throttle very early through that first inside clip. Consistent line angle being used very well here. He maybe could have gone a little bit deeper into that second outer zone, but remember he went off course there last time. A little bit long on that second inside clip, but no doubt this is better than a 72. Beautiful job on that inside touch and go. Snappy transition back around. Good flow through the finish line. Nice job by Alec Honadale making some adjustments here, and you can see just having the confidence to let the vehicle float and then get back on throttle and really blast up the hill, setting himself up nicely here. Could have just maybe been a tiny bit deeper there, but overall this is a good performance by him.
All right, the scores are in here for Alec Honadale. Where is he at? A 76, a 92. A considerable jump up. That is a confidence booster, not our #1 qualifier, but definitely that is going to earn the praise of his team. Just put it together. So congratulations to him. He jumps up considerably. All right, Odi Bakshis, he had a 90 on his first run. He really had a solid job with the line. Now can he get that impact as he's looking again for that initiation and the fluidity. Odi throws it in. Ryan Sage really focusing in. It looks like he was really rolling into it. Not a lot of e-brake there from him. And now you can hear him just rapping away on the throttle. A lot more fluidity compared to his first run, if you can recall. Just kind of an on-off switch with the throttle. That supercharged LS. Well done there from Odi Bakshis. He has a 90, a really good run. Ryan, I'm seeing you shake your head, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I just my first intuition is that's better than his 90, and you can see he made some adjustments there in his initiation. He got back on the throttle a tiny bit later, but he really allowed the vehicle to carry. He used his know-how and his ability to get in that right spot, and then beautifully executed through this second inside clip. He filled that second outer zone as well. He's right here on the line through that inside touch and go, fluid transition back around. I mean, really don't see many mistakes here. He could have maybe been on throttle a little bit earlier after the initiation, but I'm really impressed by Odie and his ability to come back on this second run and take a 90 to possibly a higher score, which I imagine that it will be.
Scores are in for Odie Bakshi's. Does he better? A 90, and he does. A 93, a solid run for Odie Bakshi's, and puts him into 8th position. Just a few more drivers left. Justin Pollock, Ryan Turk, Forrest Wang, Peter Visick, Chris Forsberg, James Dean, and Frederick Osbo. 8 drivers left. And remember, we still have Pro 2 head-to-head competition tonight. We'll have practice before that, but so many things going on here tonight. Again, this is round 1 of the Link ECU Pro 2 Championship, round 1 of 4. This is round 3 of 8 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is the Napa Autoports Road to the Championship presented by Rain-X. This is JTP. Look at that, burning him. That Falcon Tire Roush Performance Ford Mustang. Throws it out there. You can hear him winding it up, running through the gears. Man, it looks like he's grabbing another gear, Gary. Justin Pollock. He has a 95. He already has, again, he is currently tied with Justin Pollock, or sorry, with James Dean. Dean and Pollock tied for that number 2 spot. Man, you can barely hear yourself think, Ryan.
Well, he certainly had Denofa on his mind here. He was going for it. Big initiation here, long e-brake pull, but then still back on the throttle pretty early there, so got his timing right. Now coming up the hill here, you can see tons of throttle, maxing the angle out, and right there just gets into the pretty much the deepest part of that second outer zone, very tight through that inside clip. Smooth, fluid transition back around. Real good job on that inside touch and go. Like the way he transitioned back around and kept it tight on that inside clip. So Justin Pollock, I mean, maybe he's going to lose some points for that long e-brake pull, but he was still on the throttle pretty early there, or at least right at that inside clip. He's got that 95. He's trying to take it one step further. It looks like his angle was pretty much on point. We'll have to see how the line comes in. And does he better that 95, Jared? It may be very close.
Well, again, tied for second with James Dean with a 95. The tie will be broken by the second score of the 2. And the scores are in. And a 97, a number 1 qualifier, grabs the spot. Again, the number 1 qualifying position. JTP, does he better it? Most definitely. Look at that perfect style score on that fluidity. 19 on commitment. Perfect angle score. Man, almost nearly perfect. Solid job by JTP. So the 95 is irrelevant, but guess what? James Dean still has a second run, as does Ryan Turk, Forrest Wang, Peter Visick, Chris Forsberg, and James Dean, and Frederick Osbo. So here we go.
The 1 point off on commitment, I have to imagine it was on the e-brake pull, but everything else was well executed. I mean, that was amazing by Justin. He went for it.
All right, so Ryan Turk, he has an 81, so just barely in the 80 club here. Ryan Turk initiating in that gum out. Toyota Racing, Toyota 86, ripping up the hill now. The bone zone coming in. And looks like he doesn't get all the way to that second outer zone, popping and locking like he's breakdancing out of the donut and out of the keyhole, the horseshoe, whatever you want to call it. There goes Ryan Turk.
Well, he definitely left some line points on the table, but this is a vast improvement from his run number 1 initiation. Remember how much he slowed down noticeably there, back on the throttle, just right past that first inside clip. Carries some good speed up here, but again, you see pull some angle out of the car, and then he's not able to fill that second outer zone right here through this inside clip. He's going to leave this part of the course and go very wide here and miss that inside touch and go. And as he wraps around this last inside clip, he's much better on that final section of the course. He's got that 81. I think there could be some improvement there, but still leaving some points on the table for Ryan Turk.
All right, what do we got here? Ryan Turk, as again the race service follow their series blackout. It's him and Chris Forsberg and their automotive building antics out of the race service headquarters in Los Angeles, an 81, and he does better barely with an 82. Oh, look at this. We got a little flyover here, unofficial flyover. Look at that. You can see, what are those called again? Ryan, do you know what it is? Glider? Sweet, right on. All right, so Ryan Turk with an 82 on his second run. As all right, so Forrest Wang on his second run, he had an 84 on his first run. The Vaptasia NRG Innovations Achilles tire S15. Forrest Wang comes and approaches that second outer zone, fills all of it, gets into the dirt. Get some landscaping going here for the Drift Scum and the people in the bunker as Forrest brings it all the way back down. Man, just camouflaging the back end of his S15. Ryan, does that beat an 84?
Well, he made a couple little mistakes here, but I think the performance is going to be right in the neighborhood. You can see he was a little bit lacking that angle through that inside clip. He got on the throttle a little bit late there. Now as he comes up the hill here, he's really on the throttle here to try to avoid going off into the dirt, so he's going to lose a little bit of line points there. Great job on that second inside clip. Very fluid coming down the hill here. You can see big angle. Now this is where he starts to really ramp up the wheel speed. Snappy transition back around through that last inside clip. So it's not going to be our #1 qualifier, but certainly he may potentially better that first run or be very close, depending on one more score to drop.
4 drivers left here after Forrest Wang. There it is. Look at the Drift Scum there on the fence, getting hyped about the Vaptasia. There's no vape juice there. 90, boom, a 90 for Forrest Wang. So a solid execution for him, puts him into that number 11 spot as Peter Visick. Man, look at all the smoke here. Again, Forrest Wang, that smoke is what contributed to Matt Field going hard into the wall yesterday. They were practicing, and Forrest Wang produces a lot of smoke, not just out of his Vaptasia vapes, but right now it's Peter Visick who is leaving the start line. Now, Peter has a 94. Again, 94, he's sitting pretty, but you know he wants to better. A very early initiation, is that gonna pay off? You can see a lot of speed scrub there. That was at the #2 cone, Ryan. Just didn't have enough speed to carry him in there. Now he's just gonna do what everybody's kind of expecting from him. And just a really good line driver. He puts the car in all the right places, and he was going for it on initiation.
Yeah, he was going for that big initiation, early entry, boom, right at the second cone. But you can see he doesn't get the timing right. He floats it, and he has to make a little bit of adjustment to not go off course there. So this is not going to be the 94. But again, like you said, Jared, he pretty much, him along with James, they've just so flawlessly executed these lead runs, not only in qualifying but also in head-to-head competition. And with those two guys in Osbo, it's what has made them really difficult to beat. So I don't think this is going to be an improvement for Pieter, but he still will have that 94, so he's going to be up there with the top guys, at least in the top 5. But we are starting to see a few more potential scores that could go higher. We've got Forsberg at an 88. Dean's got that 95, Oswald's got that 94, and those guys can certainly get up there as well. And Yoshihara leading the pack with a 96.
Excuse me. Actually, JTP leading the pack with a 97. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so no problem. There's a lot of high scores being thrown around here, so how quickly we forget. But taking a look at the schedule, local time is 8:30. We are scheduled to have qualifying until 8:45. We'll see if we adhere to that. Just, you never know. Crazy things have happened. We only have 3 drivers left, but qualifying scheduled to go to 8 till 8:45. For just about 10 minutes, Ryan Turk is going to be piloting his GT 4586, which is the Ferrari-powered Toyota 86. That goes on for 10 minutes. Then from 9 to 9:15, we have our drivers meeting, but that is off the record. That's over in a private drivers meeting. But 9 to 9:45, Pro 2 qualify or practice. Man, I'm all over the place. 9 to 9:45 is Pro 2 practice, and then we stream live at 9:45 going into our opening ceremony and Pro 2 top 16, and we won't stop until we award the trophy. So again, a lot of things going on here. Scores are in a 69, dude. So a 69 there for Peter Visick. Way lacking. You can see that fluidity way down there, single digits. And right now, Forsberg on the line. He has an 88. He has an 88 on his first run in that NOS energy drink. 370Z on Nexen tires. Let's see how he progresses from his first run. And here we go with Chris the Force Forsberg, 3-time Formula Gym champion, brings it in. Big angle from him, really tight to that front clip. Sounding a lot more fluid with that exhaust now. Brings it into the second outer zone. Does a really good job there. Doesn't fill all of it, but definitely gets out to that line. Here firing off, Ryan, I think you'd agree, just a lot smoother, more precise from the 3-time champ.
Well, that first pass, that did seem like an improvement for me. You can see that snappy initiation. He holds the angle there, gets on the throttle a little bit later, but he made it look really clean. And as he came through this section of the course, he was really using the throttle properly. He filled that second outer zone, kept the momentum. He drove right by that inside clip really well with great angle, drew a nice tight line here through that inside touch and go, and then right through that final inside clip. So I think this is going to be a good score for Chris. Not sure where it's going to lock him in at the end of the day, but very well may break into the 90s.
Yeah, I think it's a 90s score. Will it beat a 97 of JTP? TBD, JTP, as the scores are in. Everybody's shooting for that number one, and a 94, so just outside of that top 5, or sorry, just outside the top 4, and the top 4 is critical because the top 4 qualifiers will have a bye run in top 32 due to us having 28 drivers. So again, 29, you know, man, 4 drivers, the top 4 qualifiers, and right now it's Pollock, Yoshihara, Dean, and Blush. Can, well, Dean's already in it, but Osbo, he's just outside with a 94 as well, but also we got some ties there. So we'll break it down here a little bit, but James Dean throws it in. He's already holding on to a 95. Can he take out JTP with another 97 or even a 98 or even a 100? What do you got? He's our defending champion, the Wordhouse Drift Team. James the Machine Dean. Massive angle here. Woo-wee! Wow, a solid qualifying run there. Ryan, is that enough to take out a 97 or tie it, or what do you think?
I'm going to go out there and say I don't think so. I mean, it's a great initiation. He gets on the throttle right at that inside clip. You can see he carried momentum, almost went off course there. Then you can see he had to kind of make an adjustment, get back on the throttle. He doesn't get as deep as some of the other guys that were in the mid to high 90s in that second outer zone. Very smoky run. You can see he's really using a lot of throttle here. Great job on that inside touch and go. Fluid transition back around. Second half of the course is pretty good. I still think it's going to be a solid score. I'm not sure exactly where it's going to come in, but I feel like his first run was better.
All right, so James Dean has a 95 on his first score. Scores are in. We only have 1 driver left, and that is our current points leader, Frederick Osbo, a 92. So you're correct, Ryan. Still a solid score. Puts him into that number 3 position. And again, that will be a bye run position. But right now, Frederick Osbo has a 94. Can he better that? Vying for a top 4 spot to get the fast pass from today all the way into top 16 tomorrow. Now again, remember, we will be live once again after we shut this down here. Ryan Turk will be piling up his 4586 for the fans that are lucky enough to be here in the building. But our Pro 2 opening ceremonies begins at 10 o'clock, but 9:45 is when we'll go live, and we'll be kicking things off. Here we go, Frederick Osbo, our final driver here at round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Champion, the Rockstar Energy Drink. Toyota Racing Toyota Corolla. Ryan, you're shaking your head, not agreeing with the line here. He doesn't have enough, but right now he's trying to prove you wrong. As Frederick Osbo, the Formula Drift champion, second overall last year. He wants to take James Dean out and kick him out of that throne.
Well, remember, Osbo on his last run in Orlando came back and got that 99 and ended up getting that #1 qualifying position. But I don't think this is going to be it. See how late he gets on throttle there? He struggled with that inside clip. The initiation was pretty good, but he held that e-brake pretty long. I mean, the line is basically flawless here from Osbo. Perfect wrapping around that second inside clip. Big angle here coming out. He's really tight on this inside touch and go. Snappy transition back around. But I think the initiation inside clip, late throttle is what's gonna hurt him. And with that 97 that we saw from Justin Pollock and how aggressive that run was and how much of a wow factor that has, I'd be surprised if this beats that just based on the initiation and that first inside clip.
All right, so we are waiting for Osbo's score, and it's a 95, so he does better it, and that puts him into the #3 position. That basically knocks down James Dean into that #4 spot. So Osbo, Dean, they have the fast pass, and that will be a wrap here for our pro qualifying. But Ryan Turk will be out here in his gum out GT4586. He's going to tear up some tires, but there are webcast times. Again, tonight we have Pro 2 competition tonight, so don't go anywhere. Again, that's in local time 8:35, so in just about an hour, we'll be back here. Yeah, about an hour and a half, sorry, for our Pro 2 head-to-head competition. We'll be live here at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, we'll be live here at Road Atlanta. As you can see, the lights of the GT4586 at the top of the hill. So why not check it out and stick around. You could hold the camera on there. All right, thanks for joining us out here. Again, round 3 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. This is the Napa Auto Parts Road to the Championship presented by Rain-X. Here is Ryan Turk in that GT4586. Just lighting up and just having some fun with the fans. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock for our Pro 2 head-to-head, round 1 of the Link ECU Pro 2 Championship.